Zion. I'm on my knees, Lord. I lay down my life. I'm begging, please. Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please. Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength to Zion, going to Zion, Zion, yeah. Yes, brothers and sisters, I'm Elder Rick Shaw, the Gathering of Christ Church. Let me first make sure you can all see and hear us clearly before the broadcast begins. Okay? I see we're having issues, so give me 1 second. I'll come right back in. We're having issues, so hold tight. I have to get what these issues are because we have a very important broadcast today. And I'm just sitting back. I'm still setting things up after coming back from Florida. So y'all just hold tight with me while I fix things. Hold tight. Hold tight. I'll be right back. Shalom, I'm still getting that thing now that I didn't see since we first started that says, please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Okay, the password is 9125. No, I turned it off. Let's go back and let's see. Yeah, stop. All right, all right, all right. I hope we're fine now. Okay, yeah, we're looking good. Okay, brothers and sisters, this is Elder Rick Shaw of the Gathering of Christ Church, here with a very, very, very timely discussion today, okay, this evening. Let me make sure you all can see and hear clearly before we actually begin. And I also have my brothers and sisters who are on hold in the queue through Blog Talk. I would like to say shalom to my brothers and sisters there also. If you would like to call in, of course, the phone number is 515-605-9327. That's 515-605-9327 if you would like to chime in our discussion this evening, a very important discussion we have this evening based on what's going on in the earth and the certain occult practices and dark paths our people have fallen into in these last days. We're going to discuss it today, this evening, okay? Let me make sure you can all see and hear us out there in YouTube land, as well as my brothers and sisters on Blog Talk. I hope you can see and hear us clearly. Elder Lawyer will be here in a second to assist, but nonetheless, we're diving right in. Okay, our discussion today, and you know the routine, brothers and sisters. Please hit the like button as you come into the stream. Okay, hit the like button. This will drive the traffic. Let everyone know that myself, Elder Ricard Shaw of the Gathering of Christ Church, is actually broadcasting live, and it will direct the traffic, funnel it right over here so that we can drop what the Most High has in store through the church this evening. I like to say hi. I see a few familiar faces. How you doing, Norma? Just come in. Laura, how are you? Tiki, Kassad, Charlene, how are you? Facilia, Lily of the field. Ayana, how are you? Okay, I see some familiar faces there. Judah. Okay, Chanel, how are you, Chanel? Good to see you. Some familiar faces here. Yes. I'm so glad to see my people. Star, how are you, Tina? Praise the Most High. Okay, we have Erica, Kyra. Okay, many of our brothers and sisters. DK Foreman, what's going on? True Wisdom, how are you? And I'm sure you're going to be interested in what we have to discuss today. You know what we're discussing this evening? Been a long time coming. Our discussion, hit that like button now. Our discussion today, brothers and sisters, voodoo priest and priestesses. Yes, that's our topic this evening. Voodoo priest and priestesses do not come into their secret or secrets. You're wondering where we're going here this evening. Well, you all know the Gathering of Christ Church, myself, what we believe in. We believe the Bible. We believe that we're the children of God according to the Bible. And captivity in this impoverished state is a direct product of disobedience against the God of the Bible. Okay, in a nutshell, we believe that we're the children of Israel who fell from the first covenant. Therefore, the Most High sent Christ to die on the cross, okay, so that we can be adopted back under that covenant. But there's rules. We must look at the disobedience of our fathers and understand that through that disobedience, a curse came, and now our children are cursed because of that first agreement. That first agreement was given to Moses on Mount Sinai and the children of Israel after delivering our forefathers from captivity. And that agreement is that we were not to learn the way of the heathen. We were not to fall into the practices of idolatry, witchcraft, sorcery, adultery. That we were a special people that the Most High, who the Most High chose above all people. Therefore, with much understanding comes responsibility. We were supposed to be the keepers of the law, to show the earth righteousness and become a light to the world. But in turn, according to Deuteronomy 32 and 19 on down, we begin to fall into the practices of the pagans or the Gentiles. So because of that, as a result, the Most High put his people into captivity according to that agreement in Deuteronomy 28. We received a blessing and a cursing. Now, I believe we are those people. I know beyond any shadow of a doubt, we are those people who are suffering throughout the four corners of the earth. But here's the issue. These same people, God's people, have fallen into pearl again by choosing witchcraft. Let's talk about it. Elder Lawyer just came in. Let's talk about it. Our topic is voodoo priests and priestesses do not come into their secret. Now, the God of the Bible, we all know his name is Ahia, warned our forefathers, warned the children of Israel, the dangers of witchcraft within the Bible and sorcery. Now, these practices came in old times with a severe penalty of death on those who practice the dark arts of the occult amongst our people. See, there was a punishment for our people practicing the dark arts or the occult. Now, the Gentiles, their worships were to fallen gods, and they had separate practices. They were heathens. Okay. We were not supposed to follow that or deal with it, even though there is some, believe it or not, there's a lot of truth to this. They do receive certain benefits in this world under Satan for practicing voodoo and dark arts. A matter of fact, we have a deacon from Florida who's from the Haitian tribe of Levi, and you all know they're Levi, the Haitians, who's going to delve into this evening some of the practices that were handed down to his foreparents. And he's going to give you some insight that, guess what? That most don't speak in public because they keep their secret arts a secret. Now, we all know the Levites, according to the Bible, disobeyed God. And with that disobedience, lost the priesthood. And as a result, their children, our children, the priests and our kings, went into captivity for these heinous actions and blatant disobedience. Now, our people today, now here's the weird part of this. Our people today are turning to witchcraft in large numbers, folks. Now, check out why they're doing so, and I have a few clips as proof of what I'm talking about this evening. Our people are turning to witchcraft in large numbers, check this out, to overcome trauma, to get and find relationships, to solve relationships. They're going into witchcraft or dark arts. They're doing this to boost their esteem, those that have insecurity or esteem issues. But here's the kicker. The majority of our people turn into the occult comes straight out of the Christian church. Now that's weird in itself, because I thought that the church was to provide the solutions for trauma, social issues, for the things that are ailing us as a people. But yet we're turning to the same arts that led to our captivity. Some of us even have deluded ourselves into believing, folks, that that's the way as black people we are to overcome the white man, using the French Revolution as an example of using the dark arts to defeat the white man. Let me make it clear. The French lost that. Let me make it clear, okay? History tells us the French lost the war. Our eyes tells us something different. Okay? The white man beat that war of Haiti. Look at Haiti. And not only that, the gods that you're going to find today, the gods that are worshiped by our people, these dark forces and witchcraft and sorcery, you're going to find that the so-called white man is at the height of sorcery, and you cannot touch him. I'm speaking of those that are at the head of the Illuminati and the occult. They deal directly with the general over all demons, Satan himself. So some of our people have deluded themselves into believing that, well, okay, I'll use the witchcraft to fight against the white man, playing into his hands. The majority of those that are turning to witchcraft comes out of the Christian church, which is more proof that the church and those that are leading the church have left their post. Why, question, and we're going to answer this today. Why are they choosing the occult over church? I'm speaking of the youth today. Why are they choosing the atheist thoughts or the occult or the Middle Eastern religions over the church today? And here's a question for those who may be looking to dive into witchcraft. Do you really know the price of choosing the dark side? Do you know the choice? Do you know what you're choosing? Well, listen to this broadcast, and you know what? You will receive some information, some understanding today. Okay? Broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. There's only one way out of this darkness. And you're going to find at the end of this, by the end of this program, it's not through witchcraft, voodoo, or the occult. Okay. For those who want to chime in, of course you can chime in. 515-605-9327. And yes, our broadcast this evening, the topic of our broadcast, you got it again. Voodoo priests and priestesses do not come into their secret. Okay, do not come into their secret. Let's start off with what they're doing in West Africa right now. Now, mind you, West Africa is the place that's known, okay, for the key, it was the key geography for the transatlantic slave trade. Now, our God told us that if we follow the ways of the Gentiles and begin to pass our children under the fire sacrificed to Moloch, that through that we would lose the priesthood. And through losing the priesthood, what would happen? You got it. Their children for disobedience would go into captivity, and all power by default would be shifted to who? Jacob's brother, Esau, Edom himself. Elder Lawyer, before I play this clip, right? Do me a favor. Can you grab for me real quick Hosea 4:6 and Hosea 5:13? Yes, we're going to start off with the Bible, because the God of the Bible clearly warned our people, okay, of the dangers of witchcraft, folks. So we're going to go back to West Africa. We're going to show you what they're doing even today when it comes to the occult and dark arts. Okay? Read Hosea 4:6 for me, if you will.
Yes, sir.
You can come a little closer so that you're up on this microphone here. I have everything going through the front of this.
All right, let me scoot over a little bit.
Okay, thank you, my brother. And I know you want to chime in, 515-605-9327. Hit the 1 if you have a question or comment, because guess what? What I'm talking about is not just prevalent in coming out of the Christian church, okay? What I'm talking about is 10 times out of 10, we all know someone right now who's delving in witchcraft. It's normal to us, not realizing it's perpetuating the curse, and therefore the nations, including the white man, can continue to rule and oppress us. Okay? We're talking about solutions today. We're going to be going into some things, and I have the brother on hold. I'm going to bring him in a moment. He's going to let us know what's really going on, because what's going on, I hear our people say, well, we're just praying to our ancestors in respect of our ancestors. See, that's the cover they use to conceal the true spirits they're praying to. Well, tonight it will be revealed. It will be revealed if it's their ancestors or an entirely different entity. We're going to have someone that come in from Haiti, a brother who broke things down to us on the lowest level, what's really going on in Haiti and their priesthood and who they're worshiping. You're going to find that out tonight. Let's read Hosea 4:6, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6.
Yes.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Our people, God's people, the people of the Bible, are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. What knowledge we lack? We lack the knowledge of our God, our law, our purpose. We lack the knowledge of our birthright and our responsibility with it. See? My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Read.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
I will also reject thee.
That thou shalt be no priest to me.
Thou shalt be no priest to me. Now, mind you, the Levitical priest once were before the veil of the Most High, when the Most High dwelt amongst men, okay? At one time, the Most High would come down on the tabernacle and deal directly with the Levitical priesthood. But through disobedience, those same priests, through disobedience, are still practicing the sacrifices they learned under Moses, but now they're doing it to Satan. We're going to prove it today. What you see high voodoo and high witchcraft is our priest who turned to the dark side. The high priests of the occult today come out of Africa and different areas like that. Come on.
Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God,
Seeing that we have forgotten the law of our God.
I will also forget thy children.
Now here's a question. Look at our children. Look at our state today. Are we not, is this not us? Does it seem like we are a forgotten people, folks? We can't use darkness to find the light. If your light is darkness, like Yeshua, like Christ stated, how great is that darkness? Now, our priests have left off from their post and have chosen the dark side. Let's show you some of those priests from Africa. Hold tight. Check this out. One moment. Look at this, brothers and sisters. Right there. Let me play it now.
This is a voodoo ceremony.
West
To
Africa.
be more specific, a chicken sacrifice that is helping this voodoo fetisheur commune with the gods. And, incidentally, that sacrifice also made for a pretty tasty dinner. I think. This is the best chicken I've ever had. My name is Addison O'Day, and I'm an explorer who traveled to Togo, a tiny nation in West Africa, to learn more about the often misunderstood practice of voodoo. Outside of this part of the world, this faith is often painted as dark, sinister, and an occult practice.
The cult of the voodoo. This dance is not to be confused with a religious or ceremonial rite, for voodoo has only to do with the mind. Ever in crowded cities, the flame of this cult bursts forth, handed down from a time when human blood was spilled on the sacred drum.
But in West Africa, this religion is observed by millions, and for them, voodoo is a path to lifelong balance, health, and prosperity. For those who practice, one of the best ways to achieve this is by working with a healer known as a fetisheur, here at the Marché de Fetiche, West Africa's largest voodoo market. This is where you get...
Hold on.
duck heads. This is where you
Hold on, folks.
get dried birds, snakes. You get all of this here.
Look at this here.
It's like a supermarket for voodoo.
A supermarket for voodoo.
The person put this powder inside,
Personally, I was looking for something to protect me while I was on my travels.
put it inside. Yeah, they come to play like the amulet.
Okay.
And the person put it in the pocket, in the bag, something with you.
Cool.
To protect you.
Understood. Okay. I want to go and see a fetisheur, and so we can have a ceremony and we can see what it's like. Okay?
No problem.
Okay. It's supposed to... So my friend, Patience Dako, took me for a consultation with one of the market's fetisheurs. After some discussion, the fetisheur told me he could make me a protective amulet, but in order to do so, we needed to collect a few items from the market.
They got a market in Africa. They shop.
Porcupine, owl, porcupine,
Okay.
owl.
To get artifacts for ambulance to protect, to ward off demons.
Blowfish. Right. And a starfish. My God, I need a zoo to protect me. After my consultation with the fetisheur in the market, I decided to visit a voodoo temple. I was surrounded by statues dedicated to various voodoo gods. And I witnessed ceremonies, like this one where the priests invoked water spirits to enter the temple. But perhaps what struck me most was how much in common voodoo temples have with other places of worship. Just like a church or a mosque, this is a place for people to gather.
Just
where
like a
community
church
is
or a
defined.
mosque.
A place to share stories or conduct prayers for those who need help in their day-to-day lives. While I'm still working to demystify parts of my voodoo experiences, what I took away from my travels in Togo is that this religion is ultimately one that centers on community and how to strengthen it. And it deserves to be recognized as a global faith.
Now, there's many places we can go here, starting there, right? They in West Africa till this day choose voodoo as a choice religion to help them with community, a place they go to socialize and talk about family and all those things. And it's sort of a way of self-empowerment, right? All of this voodoo we've been doing since our disobedience to God in the Bible, all the way up until captivity to our present time, folks. Why haven't voodoo or witchcraft helped us against oppression, colonization, and the persecution of our people throughout the four corners of the earth? Why hasn't voodoo helped us out of our condition if it's the way according to our so-called people? Mm-hmm. That's a good question, right? Why? Think about that. I hear so many people in the so-called conscious community saying, well, this is what we practiced in the past, as if everything we practiced in the past actually benefited us. Just because it's from the past doesn't mean it's right. What about the disobedience and witchcraft that led, according to the commandments, to our downfall? Right? Where was the voodoo protection when the white man was coming on our shores, building forts and all that to enslave us, not on their territory, but ours? Mm-hmm. What good was our voodoo priest? But so if they couldn't help us then, as a strengthened people united together, all black people on one continent in different countries, if it couldn't help us while we were united, how can it help us now? Brothers and sisters, what I'm about to show you is going to blow your mind. About to blow your mind. Hit that like button. We've just begun, folks. Hold tight. We're coming right back with voodoo priest, priestesses, and do not come into their secret. And you're going to find, folks, you know what Dr. Phil is? Dr. Phil is a priest. You know who Oprah is? Oprah is a priestess. Okay? You're going to find they've put, you wouldn't believe what some of these people do in secret. But let's keep it on the community level. I don't want to scare you off. We're going to just deal with what's happening within our communities. Okay? That's pointing our people into the occult dark forces, not realizing the consequences for their actions. Hold tight. We're coming right back with voodoo priests and priestesses. Hold tight. Let it hit play twice. I gotta use
Are you seeking to strengthen your biblical foundation? Join us in the Hebrew Bible Academy, where we offer 12 weeks of in-depth learning in a structured environment. Receive real-time news from Brother Shapat and amazing lessons by Elder Ricard. Learn ancient Hebrew with Elder Lawyer. With 12 amazing lessons, you're guaranteed to learn more about your true biblical history and authentic Hebrew language than you would in a traditional Christian church for only a one-time payment of $150 or 3 monthly payments of $50. Join us at historytimes.org and sign up today. It's not too late. See you in the academy.
All right. Let me jump right back in. All right, jumping right back in. Voodoo priests and priestesses do not come into their secret. If you want to dive in, 515-605-9327. You know what I find? We find that a broken people, we are broken people looking for answers right now. But what I find is disheartening. One would have thought after all this time, after oppression, destruction, the carnage that's going on with our neighborhoods, that some of our people would have sought the God who've cursed us for disobedience. Okay? You would have thought so. But it seems the more we're stricken, the more we're chastened, the more people are turning to the dark side. Brothers and sisters, check this out. Check this out. I know you have a few things. You can pull it up, Elder Lawyer. Look at this here. I need y'all to really examine this. Right? You can go to the side real quick, Elder Lawyer. Just the other side there. Yeah. Offerings to the river goddesses. High priestess Ayanifa Ayadel Agunsina, known as Olori. Right? These are people during a spring solstice gathering of priestesses and practitioners of Ifa and Voodoo, African spiritual traditions. Now, mind you, they're hiding their name or their true intent by calling it African spiritual tradition to make you think that, well, this is something that predates Christianity. It's a good thing. We should choose our African spiritual traditions. We're going to deal with that in a moment. You'll hear this in the so-called conscious community. They gathered to honor and thank the river deities for their blessings. Now, hold up, not God. They are thanking the river deities for their blessings, right? Now, it so happened that these same girls were on TV a few months ago being interviewed by the news. Listen to this. On the news, growing number of black women leaving churches for witchcraft.
American women in Maryland and across the nation are leaving traditional church worship. All of them are in search of something else, a spiritual belief that connects them to their ancestors and where they can feel more empowered to control their own well-being. They have found it in ancient forms of spiritual contact. Some call it witchcraft, a term they accept and embrace. For most of us, this is how we worship, a tradition that predates us all. This, too, is an ancient art of worshiping, not to God the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, but to spirits and deities that span the oceans and date back to pre-slavery days in Africa. Are you, in fact, witches?
Whatever the situation calls for. So if you come to me with pleasantries, you being respectful, you'll get Glinda, the good witch of the suburbs. But if you come at me with negativity and meanness and disrespect, then you'll get Eveline, your worst nightmare.
They have many names and titles and ranks within their belief system.
Now, mind you, brothers and sisters, these women look like natural, good, modest women, dress modest like the Bible said women should dress. Imagine running into one of these women at the supermarket or walking outside and you'll believe, you know what? Now that's a good woman. Right? Listen.
They are college-educated professional women who've chosen to believe
Hold
that
up.
theirs is a truer example.
That's another thing. This college-educated crap I be hearing. It seems like these women and others go to college to digress spiritually and intellectually. Mm-hmm. You would think that was an accomplishment going to college, right? Not if it's pumping out women like this. Right? Listen clearly.
Example of worship that is inclusive of the genders. It connects them, they say, to their ancestors and fills a need not found in traditional worship, though most of them grew up in the church.
I was raised Christian, all Christians in my family. In fact, my grandfather was a preacher in the South.
I also grew up Christian. I grew up Anglican in the Episcopal Church. The older I got, the more disconnect I felt.
I was raised Baptist. My father is a deacon. My mom a deaconess.
A deacon and a deaconess. That's the problem.
These women are part of a sect. Ile Ola Afefe Osameji, spiritual temple. They worship and offer prayers to Oshun, a predominant deity.
The deity or the Orisha of aesthetics, beauty, sex, sensuality.
They are growing numbers of African American women who have chosen for themselves a new life, leaving the church in search of more meaning in their lives. And yes, it can be called witchcraft. At a recent convention in Baltimore, more than 200 witches gathered, a sisterhood, but their spells are for good, not for evil. In this ritual, the women are preparing an offering to Oshun on behalf of a woman in California who's looking for a mate. The omelet-type dish is sweetened with honey.
Okay, she's looking for a man. Look at what she's doing to get a man. Okay? I feel sorry for the guy that run into this woman. Okay? Because if she do this to get a man, what is she going to do if he try to leave? If she's doing all this, cooking eggs and all that and putting hot sauce on it to get a man, she walks outside, a man looks at her and say, you know what, you look kind of nice today. Can I have your number or whatever the case is? And she's like, okay, it worked. All right. Now, unbeknownst to this young man, not even realizing, okay, you've just made an agreement with a witch. Now, if she's doing this to get you without telling you, and brothers, you'll be surprised how many women is scrambling eggs like this. More.
Believed to be a favorite of Oshun. Prayers are said.
Now, they say these eggs and all this, being able to whip up some eggs to find a man, instead of being modest and doing the right things according to the Lord, that this is one of their favorite activities towards Oshun. Now, that name sounds familiar. It seems like that name comes up over and over again, this goddess Oshun. Come to find out, she's the ancient goddess of a star, of ancient Babylon, that was worshipped in ancient Babylon, folks. The mother of, quote unquote, the mother of Tammuz and Nimrod. Nimrod, her son/husband. Okay. The Euphrates goddess. Now, Africans call her Oshun. Now, I've heard that word around where you see this guy who called himself a doctor, who's not at all, this Umar Johnson character around Philadelphia, run around desecrating every grave he can find, calling on Oshun and pouring water on it. The reason why he's honoring all these dead people because there's no one alive who can vouch for him. So come to find out, this witchcraft is prevalent not just amongst women, but men also. And our so-called respected men in our community and women. Keep it going.
Over the offering, and for the woman in need. A portion is offered to Eshu, the male counterpart of Oshun, and placed in a secret place beneath the stairs of this Odenton home. Using shells, they ask the spirit if she is pleased.
She's rolling rocks like dice. They're trying to get men, sticking stuff under people's steps.
Shells are tossed to the floor, 2 land up, 2 land down. Balance. The gift is accepted.
She accepts it.
The traditions may seem odd to most, a mystery to some, complex and multi-layered. But these daughters of the moon, followers of Oshun, women, powerful, determined, and understanding, say there is nothing to fear. They are here, and they will be here for the foreseeable future. Yes, there are witches among us.
This is something that our ancestors did, and all we're doing is tapping back into it so that we can become our best selves, individually and collectively.
Look at this.
There's so much more to this story than our time will allow, so our conversation continues with these women, where they reveal much more to me. And if you want to watch the extended interview, head to our website, WJZ.com, to watch Behind the Lens. And for even more information, there is a link to the Daughters of the Moon, also
Daughters of the what?
WJZ.com.
I'm totally uninterested in the rest of it, right? Now, just on one level, now there's a lot we want to talk about, right, in a limited time, right? Now, usually these are the people who have what you would call your black-owned businesses in our communities. Now, the problem is you would like to support their businesses, right? Vegetarian, vegan, and all that. But can you imagine what demons that you're bringing into your home, eating what they're cooking up? Mm-hmm. The book of Revelation tell us about us being idle, and while being idle, eating animals sacrificed to idols. And Second Esdras, excuse me, while being idle. And Second Esdras. Thank you. Mm-hmm. While being idle, we began to eat things sacrificed to idols, folks, in Second Esdras. Check that out. This is big. You want to support black-owned businesses, but it's to your own peril. You're not even realizing the deities they're sacrificing to and feeding it to our communities. And brothers and sisters, if you don't think the chaos and confusion in our communities is not a direct result of demonology and witchcraft, you are sadly mistaken, folks. Okay, go into your area Chinese stores or your East Indian stores and see those altars where they're sacrificing certain animals and all that to it, and then begin to understand how they're able to rule over you. If they're praying to demons, that's thanking them, that's giving them position over the ignorant. See? This is how they get power and get servants to serve them through witchcraft, folks. This thing is on every level. You have the Masons, you have the so-called vegans, you have the so-called African spiritualists, you have the voodoo priests, you have the astrologers. All of them are working against us. So yes, we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to let you chime in a moment. I know there's a few things you have to say, but I have one more video, because those young ladies, okay, you can tell that maybe they're having men problems or have had men problems or whatever the case is, and because of this, they've turned to certain activity, right? But then I found this young lady. This young lady here doesn't look like someone who would have an issue with finding a good man, right? Right? She was like she was chosen while growing up or whatever. Pretty girl. Check out what she said.
There are as many ways to be a witch as there are witches, but one thorough line that runs through the history and the present of magical practice is that magic is a practice for the oppressed. It's a practice of people who have been rejected, cast off, or marginalized by society.
It's practice for the oppressed.
As a Black woman, trauma has touched so many parts of my life. I first started to deepen my practice when I was coming out of an especially traumatic situation. In the aftermath of trauma, especially this really intimate trauma, you kind of feel like your whole world has exploded, that you don't have a way for understanding who you are or how you relate to the world around you. So my magical practice, my witchcraft, was a way of reorganizing the world around me, re-understanding who I was and how I could exist in the world. When I was kind of in the deepest pits of depression and struggling with anxiety, even though I knew that the right thing to do would be to get out of bed and take a shower, I just didn't feel like I deserved those things. But by giving myself a ritual, that transformed into, I have to get up and take a shower because there is a part of me that is holy, and that holy part deserves to be taken care of. So while talk therapy was very helpful to me, it was actually magic and ritual.
I got to go back.
Ritual.
I got to go back. I have to pause this for a second. It says, right, Plant Magic 101, Astrology for Witches, Divination 101. Okay? This is an admitted straight witch, folks, saying that it was her witchcraft that got her out of her oppression, her depression. Okay, when relationships didn't work, this was an alternative. This is the religion for the oppressed. Somebody asked me, who are more oppressed than our people? So they're saying that witchcraft and sorcery is a viable choice instead of God.
That transformed into, I have to get up and take a shower because there is a part of me that is holy, and that holy part deserves to be taken care of. So while talk therapy was very helpful to me, it was actually magic and ritualistic practice that helped me get to my therapist's office in the first place. Whether it's acute trauma or if it's the kind of trauma that exists when you exist in a body that society doesn't accept or doesn't value.
Now, if a young man was to run into this young lady, he would totally look at her and say, you know what? That's someone that's, that's someone I would probably be interested in, right? These are the people our sons are running into, folks. Our sons are running into these people. When really, to some degree, this girl probably don't even live there anymore. We're probably listening to the demon itself getting interviewed.
I found witchcraft very helpful because it's a practice that really centers my personal value. And in a world that keeps telling me that I don't have value, that's a really radical act. When I was a kid, my understanding of magic came from kids shows, right? One of my strongest memories of seeing a witch on TV was
Disney,
this
indoctrination.
old movie where the witches were like these cool punk rock girls. It's like Macbeth witches over some bubbling cauldron, naked in the woods. And when I got older and actually started developing my own practice, I found that a lot of things that are magic were things that I was raised with, that I grew up with. My family is Ethiopian. My mom never would have called herself a witch, but there were a lot of beliefs in our household. Things like my mom telling me that she had clairvoyant visions, my mom laying...
I need y'all to look at her mother's eyes and look at her eyes.
Things like my mom...
Look at that. Sometimes you can see the demon in photography. Listen to this. Look at her mother's eyes and look at her eyes.
Telling me that she had clairvoyant visions, my mom laying hands when I was sick, using these folk remedies to heal the body, to take care of me. It wasn't until I got older that I started dabbling in magic on my own, and the first sort of official magic that I practiced was tarot. I picked up a tarot deck. I kind of got it just to have something to play around with, and then I started doing readings and realizing, oh crap, this is actually, true is a really loaded word, but this is real, right? This is giving me something that I couldn't have gotten without using this particular tool. If you look deeply into any of the major religions, you will see a lot of things that look like magic. Prayer looks a lot like magic. Mass, as somebody who went to Catholic school, right? That looks a lot like magic. There's a lot of ritual.
Mass is
There's a lot of
witchcraft.
invocation. I think the difference between witchcraft and these major religions is who are the people who are the sources of power in those religions. Patriarchal institutions have survived and given themselves legitimacy by virtue of being sourced from men. Is this magical practice less rational or less scientifically founded than any of the major religions? No, but because it's historically been practiced by women, because it's historically been practiced by savage and uncivilized people of color, we somehow see it as more suspect than some of the also logically inconsistent rituals that exist.
Now, if a young lady with no understanding, if she were to run into this particular puff piece, what it sounds to me is that this so-called religion is on par, and it's no different than any other religion one would choose. It works, right? Look how happy and vibrant and her attitude, how positive she is. I mean, who don't want this after getting oppressed?
And also notice how she's tying this in somehow with civil rights.
Yeah.
It's, it was practiced mainly by women or people of color who were oppressed.
Exactly. It seemed like this piece, believe it or not, civil rights is actually the vehicle that's carrying all the immorality and wickedness that we are experiencing in our communities that's tearing us apart. Right? And look how happy she is.
Major religions. I get asked all the time, especially on first dates, because it's in my Tinder bio, right? Like, do you really believe in this stuff? Do you really think it's real? I don't know.
Okay, and also, for those who don't know, they had under her name, sex educator also. Okay, so she say it under her Tinder profile. So a lot of people don't know that witchcraft is also connected with adultery and sex magic. So men will lay down with this woman, and guess what? Not realizing he's taking a demon back. When two flesh become one, when you attach to a woman, you take on part of her spirit. So witches use intercourse as a form of casting spells, of taking what they call a man's energy. You better find out what's going on here, folks.
And I don't know if you noticed in the other video also, they mentioned that this Oshun deity is also associated with sensuality and sexuality and things of that nature.
Exactly. So there is no morality, there's no covenant, there's no agreement, there's no family. We're being torn apart from limb to limb, folks, spiritually and otherwise. And let me tell you, this woman right here, I'm looking at her, that would be Satan's secret weapon. Can't you see this? She would be the Delilah for Samson. Okay?
Know if it's real, but what I can say is that magic has made my life better. Magic helps me manage my anxiety. Magic has helped me recover from trauma. Magic has helped me feel more beautiful, more kind, more compassionate, more like the person that I want to be. So for me and in my life...
Man, these girls going to college, these girls out in these they're losing their minds up in these colleges, folks, and their souls. They getting turned out. A lot of people don't know. These girls go to college. You think, oh, we're going to get educated. I got a smart girl. I'm going to tell you, folks, they go to college to get demon possessed.
If magic may not be real in this provable way, but it's true.
Oh, look how happy she is. Oh. Right? Now, there's other things I wanted to go into real quick, right? But let me bring that down for a second. Anything you would like to say, Elder?
Yes, sir. There was something you mentioned earlier as far as it seems like the more we're stricken, the more the Most High punishes us, the more we deviate into this corruption, this rebellion against the Most High. And the scripture came to mind. I'm going to read this in the book of Isaiah, the 1st chapter, starting in the 2nd verse, and you can jump in at any point.
Oh, take your time.
It says, "Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me." And it just so happens that we are the descendants of those children who rebelled against the Most High God. Verse 3 says, "The ox knoweth his owner, and the donkey his master's crib, but Israel doeth not know, my people doeth not consider." And because we don't consider who our Lord is, who our master is, we deviate and we turn and we rebel into all these different forms of witchcraft and voodoo and all these other things that our people are following or dealing with. Verse number 4 says, "Ah, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord, they have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger, they are gone away backward." Verse number 5 says, "Why should ye be stricken any more? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart is faint." Now keep in mind that God is speaking about our ancestors. And you notice in these videos, they keep speaking about the ancestors. We're trying to get back to the ancestors. Well, this is what God had to say about the ancestors who rebelled against him in the past, who also fell to things such as witchcraft and voodoo and familiar spirits, so on and so forth. Just a few more verses.
Go ahead.
Verse number 6, "From the head or from the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it." Meaning the whole nation from the top to the bottom is filled with this corruption. When you go to the top, as you mentioned, Oprah, when you go to other so-called leaders of the so-called African American or the community of the 12 tribes of Israel as a whole, from that all the way to the bottom, it's filled with this spiritual corruption. Going on, it says, "But wounds and bruises and putrefying sores, they have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burnt with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in your presence. And it is desolate as overthrown by strangers." So we witness this on a daily basis. We see that our communities are destroyed. They're desolate. We have no control over them. But yet we continue to deviate. We don't consider, we don't seek out the Most High God who put us in this condition.
Exactly. And when you examine it, I'm glad you brought that out, because when you examine our condition, you would think that someone at the end of the day would have us oppressed forever. And I'm talking about amongst our own people. It's as if our own people who claim that we're being oppressed and all that are actually benefiting from our fall. Why? Because these certain people are using the same witchcraft under the craft of what we call that's being used by the so-called white man to oppress us as well as the white man. So they're not looking for a resolve. They're not looking for a way out, because with their knowledge, they have obtained understanding beyond the ignorant, beyond those who are oppressed and can't see no way out. Because now you must go to these witches, these sorcerers, to get answers. So we've actually propped these people up, these priests and priestesses, as the answer for our condition. So is it in their interest to help us out of oppression? Or is it in their interest to have oppression and poverty thrive within our communities? Think about this. These people pimp oppression. They need oppression. They need poverty, so they can always point to the white man of what the white man is doing while they're destroying us inwardly and getting paid off of it. Because they're not peddling this witchcraft and all that to white people and to other nations. They're destroying us inwardly with this witchcraft and sorcery.
If you think about it, that's a key point, because if you think about it, people are going to these witches and these priests in order to solve issues that are a direct result of the curses and the things that we go through within our oppression.
Exactly.
As you mentioned, the trauma and the pain and the hurt and all these different things. So they're benefiting from the pain of the people.
Exactly. They're going to the priest and asking the priest, well, why aren't my relationships working? Where is he? Why didn't he come home? Or can you pray for my children? Can you give me something to protect anyone from coming in and harming me because there's no man around? On and on and on and on, these priests and priestesses within our communities, they usually come under African spiritualism. They come under some type of Muslim spiritualism. And guess what? Don't be surprised, folks, if a lot of these so-called priests are hiding in your Christian church.
That's right.
in your pews, socializing with you, as well as the pastor of the church. Don't be surprised, folks, because a lot of these pastors are Masons, high degree Masons, who practice the secret arts of occult. We dropping it today, folks. Right now, we have 1,500 people in. That's a good number. Hit that like button. We're trying to get up to 2,000. Our program today, voodoo priests and priestesses do not come into their secret. The God of the Bible clearly warned his children, the people of the Bible, the dangers of witchcraft and sorcery which came in old times, with a severe penalty of death on those who practice the dark arts of the occult amongst the children of God. We weren't like the other nations. The other nations used to use these arts of witchcraft and sorcery. So yes, you can find that history, it predates the Bible. Of course it predates the Bible when it comes to the Israelites. Of course. The serpent predates the literal Bible that came into the Garden of Eden and deceived Adam and Eve. But that doesn't make the serpent righteous or good. So they'll say, well, we can find history of this witchcraft and sorcery and African spirituality well beyond the time there was a Bible. Well, of course you can, but it doesn't make it correct or right. We can find the history of the Most High God warning us from these practices. Because why? We didn't become a nation until we were in Egypt and saved out of it after witnessing witchcraft, the occult, sorcery, and all those things. And at that time, the Most High God of the Bible said, listen, you're not to do the practices of the Egyptians or the Africans. If you follow them after I've saved you from their rituals, your eventual state will be captivity under the same nations you're serving. If you serve lesser gods, I'm going to put you under the people who have always served them. Captivity, folks. Prophesied out of the Bible. I'm going to get there soon. But listen, the priests, our Levitical priests, disobeyed, and with this disobedience lost the priesthood. And as a result of their children, we have gone into captivity for the heinous actions of witchcraft and sorcery. So here's the issue today. Our people are turning to witchcraft in large numbers to overcome trauma like you've just witnessed, to get in relationships, to help them with their esteem issues, especially black women. And here's the kicker. The majority of these people turn into the occult or witchcraft come straight out of the Christian church. Why are our people choosing the occult over church? And do they really know the price for choosing the dark side? Call in 515-605-9327. I'm about to call in a brother who's going to give us some testimony of what's really going on with voodoo in Haiti and some of the traditions of voodoo that have been spoken in circles, okay, amongst his family for generations of what witchcraft really is. And the question is, are they really praying and doing rituals to their ancestors? Or they're cloaking the demons they've always worshiped and calling them ancestors? I'm going to get that in a moment. I'm going to get that in a moment. We have 34 minutes before we go off air as far as through Blog Talk. So what I would like to do right now is get a few phone calls in from Blog Talk real quick, okay? Let's get a few questions or comments in from Blog Talk because we only have 34 minutes before that cut off. But still, my YouTube family will still be together discussing this when I bring the brother on, okay? Who's going to talk about this, okay? The brother is Nathan Ben Israel from Florida. He's also with the Florida congregation. He's a deacon there. And a matter of fact, before he came into the truth, guess what? He witnessed some serious rituals that was going on in Haiti and even amongst the families here that traveled from Haiti into America that's practicing witchcraft and sorcery till this day in our communities. And you want to know why we're so war-torn as a people and want to know what's going on. I don't want to hear no crap anymore about someone blaming a white man when we are going to others, black people, to cast spells on our own people within our communities, to do witchcraft and sorcery in our own communities. But yet when the evil have come to an apex and someone is dead because of the evil, we say, well, the white man taught me this. Let me throw stones and hide my hand. It was the white man. Let's find. Do we see a white man around here? I don't ever want to hear no crap about some white man when we're practicing witchcraft within our communities and making excuses for it. Don't hand me that stuff no more. And that's part of their magic, switching bait. When we find who's really destroying us within our communities, they point or they use the sleight of hand or certain words, slick tongue, to divert from themselves. Well, what are you talking about what I'm doing? The white man's doing worse than me. Look. Ain't nothing to see here. Can't see nothing here. I didn't throw the rock. Mm-hmm. It's the white man. Okay? Right? 910 area code. Let's get 910 in first. Yes, y'all doing a great job. Hit that like button. We're at 1,500 right now, and I'm looking to get that up to 2,000. If you just come in, hit that like button. We talk about voodoo and witchcraft in our craft within our communities. Excuse me, just getting over a cold. One moment. 910 area code, and make sure you turn down the volume so there's no feedback, okay, on Blog Talk. 515-605-9327. After 910, we're going to the 269 area code. Shalom, you're live with the Gathered of Christ Church. Shalom, you're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. One second. One second, let me see if I can get them here. One second. Come on. Let me get this together here. One moment. That was the problem. I have it now. Okay. Okay, you're live. Okay. Yeah, that's good. 910 area code. You're live with you're live with the Gathered of Christ Church. We're talking about this evening voodoo priests, and priestesses amongst us. Talk to us.
Oh, shalom, Elder. I was getting feedback.
What do you say?
Hello, Elder?
Yeah, you're cutting off. What did you just say?
I'm getting, I was getting feedback. I saw a video. I said, shalom, Elder. I don't know if you heard me, but I had wanted to ask a question. I was curious about a video that I saw where the priest, the Pope was bending down, kissing the feet of these African people. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that. But go on. You can speak on it if you would like.
Okay. Oh, well, I wasn't sure what was going on. There was no explanation. They had to help him get up, and he was going around the room, bending down, kissing. Even there was a woman in the room. They were all African, real dark-skinned African people, and he was kissing their feet.
Well, it's
with their shoes on and everything.
Okay.
And they will pick him up.
Okay, we can only assume that this is some type of ritual, mutual respect amongst sorcerers, amongst witches and warlocks. Okay, the same way when people bow down and kiss the so-called pompous father's ring, These are all forms of servitude to demons and acknowledging the demons in other people. A matter of fact, we have a brother who's going to come on and speak about that. But go on.
Okay, I was just curious. I thought maybe you had knew about it, but they were all African people. I don't think they were Hebrews based on their appearance, the way they looked. I just believe they were just African, and it was African women, and it was about 5 or 6 men, and he went around the room, barely could move. He had assistance to get down and kiss all their feet.
Give in Revelations when it talks about the yeah. This it's just
that's all I wanted to speak about.
Yes. These are just rituals amongst sorcerers, priests, and priestesses on the left-hand side under Satan. That's all it is. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Let me put you on hold. We're gonna read something out. Bless you, sister. We're gonna go to the next call, and we're going to read something out of the book of Revelation real quick. Okay.
Okay, sir. Bye.
Bless you. Go ahead, Elder Lawyer.
Revelation chapter 3, verse 9.
Come on.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
So a lot of this is them acknowledging the fact that we are the people to some degree, but they're doing it on the left-hand side. I need you to get Revelations 13 where it talks about the serpent, about the sorcery, the mother of harlots. I need you to go straight there. The Roman Catholic Church, the mother of harlots.
Revelation chapter 17, verse number 3.
That's the one I want. Read.
So he carried me away in the spirit of the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast.
A red beast, which is Edom. Read.
Full of names of blasphemy.
Blasphemy, which are lies. Read.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
The 7 heads are actually, when you look at it, you have 7 heads, you have 10 horns. The 7 heads represents the 7 mountains of Italy or Rome. The 10 horns are the original European Union, or the European countries that were united in Europe under Edom in the worships of Satan, worshiping the original, what they would call old gods that fell in the beginning. Okay, read.
Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations.
Full of abominations, which is lies, blasphemy, read.
And filthiness of her fornication.
And the filthiness, all things that's evil and filthy or against God's law, is what this woman pushes. Read.
Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon.
Mystery Babylon.
Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots.
The mother of harlots.
And abominations of the earth.
And abominations of the earth. All things that's against God are promoted by Rome or the Catholic Church. You're going to find out the same deities being worshipped in the Catholic Church and amongst the religions of Babylon. Islam are Babylonian in origin and are the same deities that were worshipped at the Tower of Babel in ancient times. It's the same witchcraft and sorcery. Now, in the cup, let's get that in the Old Testament where it talks about what's in what type of wine that's in this particular cup. Okay. In the book of Isaiah, you have it there?
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse number, let me get it here, verse 9. Stay yourselves in wonder.
Stay yourselves in wonder.
Cry ye out.
Go ahead.
And cry. They are drunken, but not with wine.
So in this cup, don't forget when the papacy went out colonizing our people throughout the 4 corners of the earth, they came with a flood that would deceive the earth. What was in that cup? Delusion, sorcery. Okay, making the people drunk through this so-called religion. And this religion would detach us from our God, our laws, our true principles. And they would use religion to do so, not the Bible, because the Bible speaks against sorcery, witchcraft, and evil. Read.
They stagger, but not with strong drink.
So the Most High is seeing his people stagger from one religion to the next, from Christianity to Islam, from Islam to Middle Eastern religions, from Middle Eastern religions to atheistic thoughts, from atheistic thoughts to African spiritualism or witchcraft. So the Most High from the heavens is seeing the same people just bouncing from one thing to the next without getting any rest at all. We're staggering, but not with wine. Read.
Verse 10. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
That's a deep sleep our people are in. Read.
And have closed your eyes, the prophets and your rulers, the seers hath he covered.
See, and this is why these young ladies, like I've mentioned earlier, are leaving the churches. Because the pastor's eyes are closed and their ears are dull of hearing. Okay? There's no truth being taught in the churches, and it's leading our children to occult thinking and occult and witchcraft and all these different evil and sadistic practices. Okay? And that's what's in the cup. What's in the cup is delusion. What's in the cup is destruction. Okay? And guess what? What's in the cup only benefit the nations who have always destroyed us. Okay? The answer is coming back under the laws, statutes, and commandments of this Bible for protection. You can't go to Satan for protection. Yes, he'll give you a little blessing. He'll even answer a few questions for a price. Are you willing to pay that price? Okay. Next up, we have 269 area code, then 701 area code, and then I'm going to bring in the brother. The brother been waiting long enough.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, you're live with the Gathering of Christ Church.
Hi. I was on the phone with a brother yesterday. He's a fellow Israelite brother, but he's from a different camp.
Okay.
And
let me correct something, brother. We're not a camp. We are a church. Okay.
Right.
The whole camp concept come from some military setup. Christ didn't set up a military setup. He set up a church.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay.
And I was getting at that with him, and I was saying that we were a congregation. I was telling him about our congregation, and he was saying about how they search, or almost sound like they got metal detectors at the door or something.
Well, I don't got nothing. What I'm saying, brother, I don't want to get into what they do for security and all that. There's nothing in the law that say that they can't try to protect themselves. So I'm not here to go into everything they're doing. Okay, but let's get to the let's get to the crux. Right. Let's get to the point. Okay, what's the point?
Okay, he was basically saying we went into a Bible sparring match almost over being able to teach Esau. And he came with a bunch of irrelevant verses, I think, that didn't really prove the point. And I just wanted to know what is the credentials, like I guess not the credentials, but
put that over there,
like the
the
process on letting Esau learn. I thought we was able to teach Esau too.
Well, here's the point, brother, and that's why I don't go back and forth with these people. The bottom line is there's nothing you can teach them to stop them from doing what they would like to do. The bottom line is, regardless of the scriptures, I wouldn't even waste my time with it. Regardless of the scriptures that you pull, it's upon him to teach anyone he would like to teach. And no one can do anything about that. And see, and this is the whole point, right? He can't press upon me who I can teach. It's none of his business. If the Most High, just like the Most High gave Peter and Paul ministries, okay, that was separate than Pharisee. I'm not looking for a Pharisee or someone who don't understand to agree when they haven't received the Holy Spirit to see what we're seeing. And that's why Christ told them, let the blind, if the blind lead the blind, they would both fall in a ditch. It's a perpetual argument that leads nowhere. If they're teaching just black people, okay, those black people are finding out they're Israelites. That's fine. It's not their position. They're not even on the level to teach other nations. So why even bother? They can't get mad at me. I'm going to teach you about who Christ told me to teach, regardless of what they think. So what you're doing, brother, is giving that brother, you're giving that brother or those that feel that way relevancy. You're making them relevant. They're let me tell you, they're actually irrelevant. If they're not following the gospel of Christ, if they're not understanding what baptism is and the current and the clear principles that Christ left here for us, keep in mind that they're dead anyway. Here's the reality. One, being an Israelite, just being an Israelite is not getting us into the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so the whole deal is this. If you don't believe in Christ and his principles and what he laid out, I don't care if you are an Israelite. You are a dead man. If you don't believe in Christ, you're dead already. Why waste your time when there's so many brothers and sisters out there without the knowledge and understanding who would actually value the time you're actually utilizing to bring our people towards the kingdom?
Right.
So to me, that's an error on your part, arguing with a brick wall. When there's people out there who would readily hear the gospel of Christ and the truth of who they are. Just like John said in Matthew 3. He told them, he said, you vipers, who have warned you from the wrath to come. They have to bring works meet for repentance. I'm not here to argue back and forth with you. Time is running out. If you don't believe that you should be teaching other nations, then teach black people. But don't, I'm teaching them both. That's my business. Okay? I'm teaching because why? How can you now complain about the white man in other nations when it was upon you to show them better? At least we know the nations
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, at least we know the nations amongst us. That's one white man ain't gonna be doing what you're complaining about if he really love and serve the living God. Now, do you want to have someone to complain about? Or would you like to, as a man of the Most High, become a part of the solution? So, brother, you have wasted your time with that brother. The Bible says, after the second or third ammunition, shake off the dust of thy feet. I know what they believe already. You're not, go ahead with that. I've been there and done that decades ago. Okay. Guess what? The enemy is at the door. And guess what? We are about to be engaged by the powers that be. I'm not wasting no time with a brick wall. If someone want to die without following the truth of Christ, hey, pick your grave. Go argue with the wall. I don't have no time for it. There's too many of our people who readily appreciate the word than me arguing with a heretic. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
Thanks, brother.
You probably sharpened your sword, and guess what? You're probably a young man. I was there before. It's not like, I understand you. But you're talking to a brick wall. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right. One more call. 710 area code.
Hello?
Shalom. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. We have a broadcast going on. Voodoo priests and priestesses do not come into their secret. Talk to us.
I just want to make sure you're listening to me because you mentioned an area code that wasn't mine.
Oh, I'm sorry, but we have you here. You're live on air. Talk to us.
Okay, wonderful. Wow, I didn't even know that I was going to get through. I have a really quick question. I hope I can clearly articulate it. I have a really good friend/sister in the truth. She actually helped lead me to the truth many years ago. And she's kind of brought up various aspects that I never really took into consideration in regards to Christ, Moses, and Elijah, Elisha, and all of them using magic. And I just wanted to understand, how would you best communicate that fine line between righteous magic and unrighteous magic so that I can better communicate in a healthy way and know where to kind of verbally express where she needs to draw that line of understanding, or where I need to broaden my line of understanding.
Okay, you know what? And I'm glad you asked that question, because you would think all these people who claim the Bible is tampered with, that we shouldn't follow the Bible, that the Bible isn't always true, but they usually use the Bible to try to give their witchcraft any level of credibility. Right? So that's hypocrisy within itself. Right? So what they'll do for somebody who's a Christian and say, oh, we're not doing nothing wrong, this is good. A matter of fact, all the good people used magic. And they'll use Moses, right? When Moses put down his staff and it turned into a staff, and it actually swallowed up the power of the sorcerers that were operating in Egypt, right? They would use that. Or when Moses wrapped the stick around the phylactery, right? And those that looked on the stick where the serpent was actually wrapped around, which is your phylactery, they show that in modern medicine today, that if you look upon that serpent, that an angel will heal you. If you were bitten while we were in the Garden of Eden, right? I mean, not the Garden of Eden, while we were in the wilderness, after fleeing out of Egypt from Pharaoh, right? See, what the Most High was showing is that his power was above the God's power of Egypt. Okay? Doing it on the level that they can understand it, because they were dealing with magic, right? Now, let me break this down for you. Let me break this down for you. When the Most High turned the rivers into blood, right? They could look at that as magic, right? Or witchcraft, right? But these were plagues that the Most High plagued the Egyptians with to set us free, right? Now, I'm just going to talk to you on a conversational level. What sorcery or witchcraft has been used by our people that led to freedom? I'm just on that level. What witchcraft have they done that led to all of our people being let free from the Gentile nations who have oppressed us? How is what they're doing?
Well, I mean, I don't verbally kind of delve into that whole psyche as far as calling it witchcraft. I kind of leave that kind of power to those who are imbued with it. But it was just a recent conversation, and this is just a timely blog talk that I just wanted to get better better understanding from somebody who's more learned to be able to express. Because I know she's not doing anything like, she's just kind of analyzing it from another perspective for debate purposes. Not really, I don't believe she's like dabbling in anything.
Yeah.
Hebrew,
well, sister, when I answer a question, what I do is cast out imaginations and put out all the ideas that one might be thinking with over 1,000 people, 1,500, 2,000 people actually listening. So I'm going to answer all those thoughts within the context of your question. This is nothing personal here, okay? Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you that even though those things were used to some degree in the Old Testament, what Moses did, right? I'm going to show you that we're no longer to use even those practices since Christ have come, right? That's what I'm going to show you. So now no one can look at the Old Testament and say, well, we used to do that. Well, there's no priesthood that can perform those things anymore. That's number one. The priesthood have been utterly eradicated. Okay? So if you even try to use the precise things we've done in the Old Testament, you're now falling on the left-hand side of witchcraft and sorcery, even if you can find something we've done. Why? Because it all falls under Christ now. Let me give you some examples. Let's get John 3. You have something else there too? We're going to get that next. Let's get St. John 3 and 13. Right?
St. John chapter 3, verse number 13.
Come on.
And no man have ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven.
Come on.
And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness.
As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, which is what? Wrapping a serpent around a stick for those who believe that Moses would save them at that time and believe that he was sent by the Most High, that person would live through the bite when the serpents were biting or harming our people in the wilderness. Now, some people may look at that as, okay, that was magic. But it was more so the faith of that person believing that Moses was sent. Okay, read.
Verse number 15. Or the rest of 14.
Finish reading it.
Even so must the Son of Man be lifted up.
Even though Christ must be lifted up. Read.
Verse number 15. That whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
Whosoever shall believe in Christ now shall not perish and have everlasting life. Now, some people now may try to do the same thing Moses did. Well, no, it's the belief in Christ now. Okay, it's not what we've seen in the Old Testament that could be deemed magic. Okay, and through that faith and believing in Christ, you're healed. See, you're healed through your understanding and faith in him, opposed to the rituals that went down in the Old Testament. So no longer can we go through all of those different tentacles to get resolve or healing. Now it's only one place now. And if you believe in him, you're healed. And that falls in every area of our society when it comes to believing and understanding in connection with the Most High. No longer is it through magic, witchcraft, sorcery, or these other ways they're trying to slip in saying, well, Moses did the same thing. Well, guess what? The people Moses were opposing was doing it, and they were doing it under Satan. That's the point. Who are you doing it under? Who do you believe in? See? And this is what they're concealing. You see that?
No, I definitely see that for sure. And
okay.
That's why it's something that I personally kind of refrain from. Again, I don't think that she's making use of it or standing on the left-hand path, but I just wanted to have a better verbal discourse to make sure that I express the line in which that, you know, I think the righteousness stands upon, which is pretty much just believing Christ and, you know, step away from anything in that kind of realm. But at the same token, I don't want to disregard the scriptures where that speak of those things, because, you know, it seems that Satan takes everything that the Father has and, you know, inverts it. So if there's a better word than magic for righteousness, you know, maybe power or something outside of using that word, I just know that it just became a topic. It was just a random conversation that we had in passing, and I just wanted to, it had me thinking when this blog talk popped up, like, you know, if that conversation were to ever unfold again, how to kind of like, you know, just share, you know, just a tidbit conversation.
Well, thank you, sister. I'm going to place you on hold, but I hope we answered some of it. But keep in mind, you must really focus and understand when they bring these things up, you must put the ball back in their court. Mm-hmm. Okay? Okay. Where did Christ say to do what you're doing? And under whose name are you doing this? Under who? So don't try. Sister, I understand, but
greater works shall you do.
I understand, but you have to. They have to give you a specific deity or power, because they may tell you that in public, but in private, they're dealing with deities you have never heard of before. Mm-hmm. And that's the point.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's the point. They may say to you the things you can relate to. But just like we heard of Oshun, who's that? But when they go in private, they're calling on Oshun. Mm-hmm. You understand? So the bottom, exactly. So let me place you on hold, sister. All right. I need you to throw that point out you had real quick, Elder Lawyer, before I bring the other phone call in.
Yes, sir. And there's so many points on this. This is a lesson within itself. And I think the brother, once we bring him in, he may be able to actually go into some of how really Satan is a carbon copy of the Most High.
Yes.
And she mentioned something when she came in about righteous magic versus evil magic. The reality is that there's no such thing as righteous magic.
Exactly.
Okay. Moses wasn't dealing with magic. Elijah wasn't dealing with magic, and neither was Christ. But just a quick point. This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse number 12. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregations in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High."
Mm-hmm.
So Satan would try to replicate everything that the Most High does. The same way Moses had power through the Most High to perform miracles, the magicians had power to perform miracles through Satan. But it got to a point, as you mentioned, that when the Most High would put a plague on Egypt, the magicians had no power to turn back the plague.
Exactly.
To show you the difference between what the Most High did through his power, through the Holy Spirit, and what the Satanists are dealing with through magic.
Exactly, because they deal with levels of what you would call invocations, okay, on the left-hand side. Okay, they have Satan at the pinnacle and all the demons under rank and order. Just like with an exorcism. Christ never did an exorcism where he would go to one demon to help cast out another. So, and that's what they're dealing with in the Catholic Church. So
90 seconds.
So you may see or think that it's a miracle, but it's really an agreement between two demonic spirits. Christ didn't do that. So they also use similarities, and to the ignorant don't know the difference between when it's done by the Most High or when Satan. Don't forget, the Bible says many wonders they'll do, and that it would, if it was possible, that the very elect might be deceived. So they would have lying wonders.
Right.
You must
60 seconds.
You must discern between the lying wonders and the healing power that's only under Christ. Because why? There's no price to pay when it comes to our soul exercising Christ's power. Okay? But if you begin to deal with those dark forces for a temporal reward, it comes with what? A penalty. It comes with a cost. And it's usually the cost are your children first. The chaos in your homes, the confusion where your children are getting shot and killed. That's a direct result of payment for disobedience dealing with witchcraft. It comes with a human sacrifice, starting with our children. And then after that, he'll require your soul. See, these are the things they don't talk about in trying to relate witchcraft with Christ. Okay? Christ is not asking you to give your soul to hell and cause all types of confusion in your community to serve him or to believe in to believe in his power. Excuse me. Now, let me bring a brother in. One moment. I'm about to bring him in right now. Voodoo priests and priestesses do not come into their secret. The God of our Bible clearly warned his children of the dangers of witchcraft and sorcery which came in old times, with a severe penalty of death to those who practice the dark arts and the occult amongst the children of Israel. Our priests, the Levites, disobeyed, and with that disobedience lost their priesthood, and as a result, our children went into captivity for these heinous actions and practices. Our people, the children of God, the people of the Bible today, are turning to witchcraft in large numbers to overcome trauma, to get with relationships, or to find a loved one, or to find happiness, and to cover some of their esteem issues, etc. And here's the kicker. These same people who are turning to witchcraft and sorcery, brothers and sisters, predominantly comes out of the Christian church. So that's an issue in itself. That they feel a need to provide for their emotional needs outside of the spiritual guidance that should be provided within the Christian church. Why are they choosing the occult over church? And do they really know the price for choosing the dark side? We have Brother Nathan Bun Israel, who's about to come on in a moment. One moment. Let me bring him in. One moment here. Am I Where can I find the call itself? 1 second, folks.
The history of the call.
Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. Let me bring him in now. 1 second. Let me see if I can find the brother. There it is. There you go. I see him here. Okay, calling you in now, brother. I hope you're there.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, how are you?
I'm good, my Elder.
Okay, I'm hearing some sound behind you. Is that our broadcast or what's going on there?
Yes.
Okay, just turn...
I'll put it off now. Mm-hmm.
All right, turn the broadcast off. You can hear me loud and clear, correct?
Yes.
Okay, 1 moment. Let me bring you on so that the brothers and sisters can actually see you there, okay? 1 moment.
Calm.
We have a guest in here. 1 moment. All right, going to bring you right in, my brother. All right.
Yes, my Elder.
All right, just let me take one break real quick. Let me take one break. We're going to bring the brother right in. He's going to give you a testimony of what's going on with the priest in Haiti. Okay, 1 second. The priesthood, the voodoo, how it's affecting our people. Coming up next. Hold tight. Okay.
Are you seeking to strengthen your biblical foundation? Join us in the Hebrew Bible Academy, where we offer 12 weeks of in-depth learning in a structured environment. Receive real-time news from Brother Shapat and amazing lessons by Elder Ricard. Learn ancient Hebrew with Elder Lawyer. With 12 amazing lessons, you're guaranteed to learn more about your true biblical history and authentic Hebrew language than you would in a traditional Christian church for only a one-time payment of $150 or 3 monthly payments of $50. Join us at historytimes.org and sign up today. It's not too late. See you in the Academy.
That's right. We'll see you in the academy. And for those who would like to join, keep in mind we have 12 weeks of serious lessons. Okay, the Hebrew, we have Brother Shapat who comes in with the news after serious intent. Okay, content when it comes to going out, finding out information. He's diving all the way in to figure out what's going on with the beast system, what's happening on an international level when it comes to news, what's going on that's leading to this war with Iran. A lot of that is discussed within the academy. So if you'd like to be a part of it, send an email to gatheringas1@AOL.com or go to historytimes.org or gatheringofchrist.org and become a part of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. You'll learn more in one lesson, one day, than all the time you've learned in a Christian church or within any religion you've ever come up under. Okay, we guarantee it. Go to historytimes.org, become a part of the Gathering of Christ Church work by enrolling in our Hebrew and Bible Academy. Okay, brother, are you ready?
Yes, my Elder, I'm ready.
Let me bring you right on in. Just call me Elder Ricard. That's fine enough. All right?
Yes, Elder.
All right. 1 moment. Let me bring you in so that all can see. Right here, we have the Skype here. There you go. 1 moment.
All right.
Ah, there you go. I see you.
All right.
All right. Okay, shalom, my brother. How are you?
Shalom, Elder Ricard.
All right. I'm glad to see you today, brother.
Glad to see you also.
Okay, we have brothers and sisters that are on today, brother. and they would like to know, of course, you can introduce yourself and let us and tell them about what the Haitians are really going through. Let's take it one step at a time in respect of voodoo or witchcraft, okay? First, introduce yourself, and you can let the brothers and sisters out there know who's actually listening, where you from, and so on and so forth. The floor is yours.
Okay. Tawada Elder Rakashia and Tawada Elder Lord, I'd like to give all praises to the Most High Higher, Hashem Yeshaya. My name is Given Son, and my Hebrew name is Nathan Allah, Nathan Ben. I'm the deacon here at under Elder Fennell in GOCC, Florida. My background, my parents are from Haiti. Parents born and raised in Haiti. Me, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but I went at a later age and lived in Haiti for some time as an adult. And myself, being part of a family of voodoo priest and voodoo priestess, I am part of the 4th generation of my family, a family of voodoo priest and voodoo priestess. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, from a child, from as far as back as I can remember, from a child.
Okay, let's start here, brother. When you say you are from a long line of voodoo priests and priestesses, what does that entail? Explain to the brothers and sisters in Haiti that haven't been to Haiti, what is a voodoo priest?
A voodoo priest, first of all, a voodoo priest, what they call a voodoo priest, first of all, in Creole, is called a uga. A voodoo priestess is called a mambo. And voodoo priest, one cannot want to become a voodoo priest or a priestess. One has to be chosen. Is chosen. The spirits.
I don't see you,
okay,
brother.
Okay, brother.
Yeah, we're gonna need you in the camera here. But go on.
Yes. One is chosen. One is chosen through the spirits to be a voodoo priest or a priestess. It's not something that you can choose for yourself because you like it, or even if your parents are that doesn't mean that you're gonna be that. It's something that you are chosen even before birth. Before birth, that it's believed that you are chosen, and when the child is born, there is certain signs or certain wonders that as you are being born or as an adolescent, that the spirits will give to say that they chose this child. And my mother had nine children, 9 boys, 3 which passed away. And later on in this broadcast, we're gonna go into that, how the spirits were even part of that. Her having 9 boys and 3 passed away, and remaining of 6, I was brought up to believe that I was the one after my mother. My mother was a voodoo priestess. Her father was the voodoo priestess in his generation. But me, as from birth, as an adolescent, from a young age, from the time I remember start talking and crawling, I was being trained to be my mother's predecessor. When she died, or when she couldn't fulfill that position anymore, because whatever reason it was, health or what it might be, I was being groomed, shaped from the time I could speak to fulfill and be her predecessor when she passed away or no longer couldn't fulfill that position. So I was brought up as a child witnessing my mother. She made sure I was involved. I witnessed her. I witnessed all the rituals, the sacrifices. So at a young age, from as the time that I could speak, 7, 8 years old, I was being trained how to do sacrifices unto the deities, the spirits, how to do rituals,
Hey, Nathan, do me a favor because your face is not in it. So I need you to centralize your face where your face is centralized in the whole thing. I'm getting more of the room than you.
Okay.
Can
you see me better now?
No, that is perfect. Now, in particular, brother.
Yes.
When it comes to one being a voodoo priest or priestess, how does that particular person, you say you're under 4 generations of those, how do they service the community in Haiti?
The way they service the community in Haiti, like my mother, she is what her family line, because you have what they call Guinea, and you have white, black spirits, and you have spirits of the air, spirits of the water, spirits of fire. So what would happen is my mother was her line, and her father was more of what they would call black, and she was more white because she was a feminine. So she dealt more so with the feminine aspect of it, of the spirits, of the deities. And that right there, the way she serviced the community and the way I was being brought up to service the community.
When I say service community, what do people come to you in specific to ask for? Let's get straight to it.
All right, straight to it. What they would come for, first of all, they would come for healing. That's the number one thing. For healing, if their child was sick, if they believe a charm, if their son, a spell was cast upon their child, they would come to my mother. Or even things like if someone was in prison, they would come to my mother. Or even just for protection, for even enchantments or spells to disappear, for example, to disappear, or to not to, if someone shoots at you, you wouldn't get shot. Because growing up in Brooklyn, we were dealing with a lot of people that were drug lords. So a lot of them would come to my mother so that they would ask for a spirit, a protecting spirit, a spirit of guidance, so that they wouldn't get shot, or as they were selling drugs, that the police wouldn't see them, they wouldn't get caught. And if they would get caught, they would pay large amounts of money so that they can be freed from prison, or if they have a court date, that the judge would pronounce them not guilty.
Okay, well, here's my question then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did your mother consider herself a Christian?
My mother, she never considered herself a Christian, but we were brought up, her mother was a Catholic, a devout Catholic.
Okay.
Roman Catholic. Mm-hmm. So, but my mother, she never really went to church. The only time I would see my mother use a Bible, it was always in conjunction with other Masonic literature. It was always in conjunction with that. Okay.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. Okay. Now, dealing with we all know that the Haitians are from the tribe of Levi, right?
Yes.
Name some things that have happened or that you've witnessed your family experience, okay, with actually dealing with the arts. What is it that people need to understand concerning that? Like for instance, we look at the Virgin Mary, right, under Catholicism. Yes. You see a lot of these people who called African spiritualists who are dealing with female deities, like deities of the rivers, like the pagan women that are witches dealing with vegetation sacrifice at the waters. My question to you,
yes,
is there a similar deity being worshipped or given honor to in Haiti, voodoo and witchcraft? And can you identify that in relation to the Catholic Church and what these pagan witches and warlocks are serving today?
There is a direct correlation. A matter of fact, it's the same spirit. Just like the Bible says there's only one God, there's only one Satan and his fallen angels. There's all the deities, they call them by the same deities, different names from different regions or countries, but it's the same deities. Like, for example, Osho, that the young ladies that you see down in Maryland, that spirit that they worship in is from the Yoruba people out of West Africa. Osho, in Haiti, we call her Ezeli Dantor. And in America, or the Romans, they call her Black Madonna. She's the Black Madonna.
Mm.
So it's the same spirit, and we worship her through water, putting down water every time we summons her. We pour down water. We pour water to summons her, and even when she comes, we have to dip parsley or leaves in a cup of water and sprinkle the area that she's cut for her to even enter an area or room. So it's a direct correlation, and that's the thing. That's why majority of Levites, 70% of them they consider themselves, they call themselves Catholics, because there is a direct correlation with the Catholic saints with the voodoo deities. Direct correlation. And during slavery, when we were forbidden to worship those deities from West Africa, when Catholicism was forced upon us, all we did, because we used to worship them through trees and things like that, and they forbid us to do that, so we just took on the imagery of the Roman Catholicism. But what I come to find out, that when we thought we were tricking the Roman Catholics, they knew all along who those gods were. They actually knew those gods wasn't saints. We thought we was tricking them. The slaves thought, the Levites thought they were tricking them by, worshiping their imagery and putting our gods, our deities, to their imagery. But we were being tricked all along, because they know those gods for what they are. For example, one of the highest spirits that in white magic, what Haitians call white magic, is Saint Patrick. Saint Patrick, the god of the serpent god, which we call Dambala. He's one of the highest deities in white magic for the Levites. So till this day, the Roman Catholics are worshiping him till this day. And another aspect of that is, as you reach certain levels in this voodoo worship, the highest form, that when you become a priest or a priestess, how in the Haitian community, in the voodoo community, how one has arrived is when they leave animal sacrifice, they leave child sacrifice, food sacrifices, then they go to sexual sacrifices, rituals. That's the highest form of magic in voodoo.
Well,
so that's how.
Yeah, so let me ask you this, because in lieu of that, I wanted to progress this along real quick. I noticed that there's a lot of activity, even with the Catholic Church, when it comes to Mass and all that, in connection with the dead saints. Yeah. Like in particular, when it comes to African spirituality, you hear people talk about the ancestors, and I'm really paying homage to the ancestors and sacrificing to the ancestors. Is this something similar to what we have in Haiti? And if so, or with the Levite priests who are in Haiti, and if so, are they ancestors? Or what is this connection with the dead, or this affinity they have with the dead in all their rituals? Give us some insight on why there's so much activity between the living and the dead.
Well, the connection between the living and the obsession with the dead is that it goes right back to Babylon, to Egypt. They believe that all the secrets of life are in the underworld. You have to go to the underworld, to not the living, but the dead, to retrieve all secrets of life. All spiritual mysteries are with the dead. They believe that. They believe that, and only the ones that are on a low level, a base level, believe that is their ancestors. Like me, when I was growing up, and my mother was doing this, even though she used to. That's when they say ancestry. That's just for surface. That's for that's to put things in layman's terms.
But what is it? What is it?
It's actually worship. It's actually worship of Satan and fallen angels. Lucifer and his fallen. We don't call him Satan. They don't call him Satan. They call him Lucifer and his and fallen angels. And the thing about it was, the Haitians actually, the ones that are knowledgeable about this, they actually that reach a certain level, they actually know they're not worshiping God, because you would have the ones that reach a certain level would deal with the mysticism. Their God, the God that they worship and call to do all the enchantments or spells or sacrifices, they call him the grand architect of the universe, Yahweh/Jehovah. They call him the grand architect of the universe.
Hold up now. So you're saying that these priests be doing these rituals, these satanic rituals, under the name of Jehovah and Yahweh?
Yes.
Okay. Go on.
Yes. He is considered the grand architect of the universe. But the ones that really worship the Most High, that would consider themselves Christians, they call the true God, they call him the good God of the universe. Good God, bon Dieu, the good God of the universe. The God, he's not the architect. He's actually the God, the good God of the universe.
That's what they call him.
Yes, they call him bon Dieu, which means good God, the good God of the universe. So they know they're not worshiping the true God. They know that. But those that are on the higher level, because the thing is with voodoo is, as the Bible, like you read the scripture before in Hosea, most of the people that are entrapped, are in bonds under the wiles of the devil, under voodoo, are ignorant. They themselves are being disillusioned that they're not worshiping their ancestors. If you ask a Haitian person, why are you worshiping the dead or worshiping your ancestors? They'll tell you, no, we're not worshiping the dead. We're paying homage. We're giving memorial to our grandmothers, our grandfathers, our ancestors. We're not worshiping them.
Okay, so they'll hide their true intention by claiming, well, it's just a form of respect, opposed to the worship of these secret demons they're using to actually gain power over those in their community. Now, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Let me ask you this real quick, okay? You've grown up in a Haitian house, or a priest and priestess's house, being under 4 generations, right? Explain something that have happened that you've witnessed with your own eyes that most people out there probably wouldn't believe.
Okay. One of the things that I've witnessed, and this was the straw that broke the camel's back, and this is when I got out. This is when I was like, you know what? I have to get out. And first of all, I remember as a child, used to have vivid dreams, even broad daylight. I remember, because these spirits, they used to actually haunt me. I would see them in, broad daylight. I would see them in my sleep, and they would appear very vivid. I remember one time I was taking a shower, and this is Brooklyn, New York now. I'm taking a shower, and I felt like my hairs on my skin started to stand up. So I took a glance at the window, and guess what I saw in the middle of Brooklyn, New York? I saw a big gorilla with brown eyes, shiny brown eyes, just staring at me while I'm taking a shower. So I said, so these things, as a child now, these things are happening to me. And I'm having all these vivid dreams. And I'm like, something is wrong. But that's the thing that did it for me. Was I remember my mother, we would be sitting, we'd be having casual conversation, we'd be eating, and spirits would possess her, as we are on a dinner table, just talking, drinking. Spirits would possess her, because the reason the spirits used to do that is because the spirits they would call the person that they possess the horse, like a mule. Like they would come on, they use that person's body as a vessel. So the person, when that spirit comes, they're not aware the spirit even came. So there's sometimes when the spirit wanted to give a message to my mother, that's what it would do. It would, as I'm talking to her, because they already knew that they were going to kill her. That when they were going to kill her, because they were going to kill her. They kill you. You don't die naturally. They kill you, and then they take your child. The child that they picked. Now, after they're done with you, they take the child. So the spirits would, as my mother was aging, they started communicating more and more to me through my mother, like broad daylight. We'd be sitting, eating, drinking, and the spirits would possess her and would talk to me and would tell me messages to tell to her. I remember one time we were sitting.
Hold up, brother. I'm gonna let you do that. But when you say possess her, most out there that are witnessing this or looking at this need a more detailed description. How did you know she was being possessed opposed to her normal behavior, being a child?
The way that I knew she was possessed, obviously my mother was a female. She was at that time she was around her 40s, mid 40s, late 40s.
Okay, she's still with us. Is she Pat?
Yes, she's still with us.
Okay,
she's still with us.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, she's still with us. And I would be sitting with her. And my mother's she's a person, she likes to make jokes and smile and listen to music. But when these spirits would come on her, I would see, like, she's a woman, her voice would change automatically to a masculine voice, and she would have power, strength to pick up things. And even when she walked, you would hear her foot, like almost like a hammer hitting the floor, pounding, like hitting the floor. And her voice would, and even her eyes would turn like her eye color would change. Her eyes color would change, and she would become like a male. And that's how I knew she was possessed. There's even spirits that come in form of animal, like a dog. They would come as serpents, it would come as a form of serpent. And so that's how you would automatically know she's possessed. And how you know they possess, even if their voice doesn't really change, every spirit has an item or in color or food that they prefer. When that spirit would come, it would automatically ask for its a food item, or you would have to put on certain colors for it. It would ask for a certain color. That's how I knew she was possessed. And then this one time, the spirit came, and this spirit name is Ogu, and that's the husband of that spirit that those young ladies in Maryland are saying that's the counterpart, the male counterpart of Ashur. His name is Ogu in Voodoo. He would come, and that is the same spirit that the Levites summoned Bookman when he did the sacrifice with the swine. That's the same spirit they summoned, because he's a warrior spirit. He's a fighting spirit. He gives you strength. So they summoned that spirit. So that spirit came.
You mean they summoned that spirit during the time of the French Revolution?
During the French Revolution, yes. Bookman, when he did the sacrifice with the swine, the black swine, it was to Ogu. That blood that was shed was to Ogu, because they summoned Ogu because he's a warrior spirit. He gives you power to fight. And you could even get shot and don't die. Pierced with a sword, don't die. So they summoned Ogu for that battle. And we're going to get back to that. And that's why to this day, Haiti is in the condition it is. Because of that sacrifice, that blood that was shed, part of that contract was every so often, blood has to be shed in Haiti. every so often, sometimes 7 years, 21 years, blood has to be shed to keep fulfilling that promise, that oath that they made, that spirit they made with that spirit, that pact is only fulfilled through blood. Okay, so that's why every so often blood has to be shed through war, through earthquakes, through whatever it is in Haiti. So that spirit came upon my mother, and my mother, what she used to do is that spirit likes to drink rum, likes to drink Haitian rum barbecue. And my mother she didn't really drink. But whenever that spirit came, she could drink like a gallon of rum. But she never drunk. She didn't used to drink. But when that spirit possessed her, she would drink a lot. So now when that spirit came, my mother didn't have no rum there. My mother wasn't buying him rum because it gets expensive to keep buying rum for this spirit. And that's another thing, how I knew these things are real, because my mother would buy a bottle of rum or put coffee in a cup, and I would witness a sealed bottle of rum, sealed. No one opened the bottle, and over time, I would notice the bottle emptying. And I was like, did you open that? No one opened the bottle. The bottle was completely sealed. So the spirit was drinking out the rum. So, but what happens is once the bottle finishes, you have to go out and buy him a new bottle every time it finishes. So my mother wasn't buying him no more rum. And I would tell my mother, why are you not buying his rum? You know he likes rum. My mother said, because he's not fulfilling his promise to me. Because my mother it's like a covenant they have. The spirit would give you power or do certain things that you ask it, and you would do sacrifices for the spirit in return. Animal, food, child, So that's how it works. So the spirit stopped fulfilling his side of the pact. So my mother said, the way I'm going to deal with him, I'm not going to buy him no more rum. If he needs rum from me, he needs to start providing for me. And I was like, okay, Mom. I don't know too much about this, but it doesn't sound good. So the spirit, it spent months. My mother didn't buy any rum for him. So he came one day as I'm sitting with my mother, broad daylight in the summer. And he came and he told me, he said, son, tell my mule, which was my mother. They called the mule. Tell my mule that if I come again and I do not find rum, I'm going to burn this house to ashes if I don't find rum the next time I come here. And 6 months later, Elder Rakashia, 6 months later, we lived in an apartment building complex. The spirit came. And when he came, I could remember that day, all I saw was a bunch of lights. And it formed a star right in front of the door. A bunch of lights like connecting dots. And it formed in the shape of a star. And then the house burned to powder. And how I knew it was that spirit was because we lived in an apartment complex. There's about 3 houses on each side of us, like 3 apartments on top of us and in the bottom of us. The house, everything in the house, we couldn't even save a shirt or nothing. No possession was saved. The house was burned from the ceiling to the ground. No house on the side of us or the top of us or the bottom of us was harmed, was touched with fire. So I knew that was the spirit that did that. So from that time.
Hold up, did she know? But did she know it was the spirit?
And this is the thing, these spirits, and that's how I knew it was satanic. Because even though I told her the story, it was like the way it made her felt, because when I was telling her, she thought it was a joke, because the way you are taught these things is like you are in control. Her father taught her, this is how you control, this is how you manipulate these spirits, and they work for you. These spirits work for you. If you know how to do certain enchantments, evocations, you can control the spirits of the air, spirits of the earth, spirits of the waters. spirits of wind, fire. You can control them through certain enchantments or channeling. She thought she was in control of those spirits, that they would never harm her. She thought that could never happen. So when I told her that, she just brushed it off. It's not until after the fire, I was like, Mom, remember the day, such and such day? I told you such and such spirit came and this is what they said. And then she was like, oh my God, my son, you did tell me that. He did this? I said, yes, Mom, this is him. This is such and such spirit that's what they told me they would have done. And I saw this, the lights, the star, I saw it when he came. And she was like, and she was like, all right, I'm gonna fix this. So she went to Haiti and she did to make things right, to make amends with the spirit. She went to Haiti. She did a food offering, animal sacrifice to make amends. But once I saw that, I said, you know what? I don't want no parts of anything that's going to deal with me like that. So that's when I started to look at ulterior ways of searching God, because we knew that, because those that are voodoo priests and voodoo priestess, they always quote a Bible verse that says that Satan is powerful, but God is 2 times more powerful. So I said, once I saw that happen, I said, I don't need to deal with the middleman. I want to go straight to the man, because I don't think God would ever do this to people that are serving him, So that's how I got out. And that's what I witnessed. One of the things that I've witnessed, but I've witnessed things where my mother would turn to a serpent. Her tongue would change, her eyes would turn around, just like a serpent, and she'd start crawling on her belly. I've witnessed that. Eating bottles of glass, stuffing a sword in the belly. I witnessed all that, and even people turning into cows, bulls. Witness that. And that's one of the reasons in Haiti, most Levites don't eat meat. Many people don't know why. When you go to Haiti, most Levites don't eat meat. People don't understand why. It's because if somebody does something wrong in a community, they would turn that person to a goat, to a bull, a donkey. They would turn you to an animal if you did wrong. And that's one thing where Lucifer, Satan, has tricked the Haitian people, because part of this voodoo is a justice system, because that's why they don't really need police in Haiti. Because if someone does wrong to you, if someone steals from you or kills your child or casts a spell upon you, there's no police to go to. There's no police to go to for that. There's no justice system for that. So they go to the spirits. They bring that before the courts, the spiritual court, tribunal of the spirits. And they judge matters. They judge matters. And if the person is wrong, they will say this person deserves death. Like there's a tree in Haiti. There's a tree in Haiti called Piemapu. That's a tree. Even one of the king of Haiti, Wa Christophe, he had that tree, and many Haitians have it till this day. That tree talks. It actually talks. And what he used to do was, if they brought someone before the king, and they said this person stole something, the king would tie that person to a branch in the tree, and Haitians still do it to this day. And they would ask the tree, once they tie the person to the tree, and then a branch of the tree, they would ask the tree, let me know, is this person innocent or guilty? And if the tree says that the person is guilty, then the sentence of his guilt is death.
Okay. Okay, so what we know is that there's a certain justice that comes with the priesthood itself in Haiti. Outside of the regular law of the land, these people are looked upon as what you would call judges, who use the spiritual realm to bring forth what they would call righteous judgment?
What they would call righteous judgment. Because the thing about it, these spirits, Lucifer himself, the grand architect of the Jehovah, Yahweh, the grand architect of the universe, and the fallen angels under him. It's a ranking system. You have lieutenants, you have captain, you have sergeants, you have officers. They have to abide by the law of the Most High. They have to. So if you bring a case before them in the tribunal, the spiritual court, the tribunal, if that person is not guilty, then the person that brought him before would have to pay a price for that, sometimes with his own life or his child's life. So there is laws that govern this whole thing. Because if the person is not guilty, no matter what you do, nothing will happen to that person. But if they are guilty, death comes with that.
Okay, now moving this along, because there's one thing I wanted to bring out with that, and I'm going to ask you a more in-depth question, right? First and foremost, I can see how some people out there will get confused, right? I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about those that grow up in the society of the witchcraft, when they actually see what appeared to be to them righteous judgment being executed within their society. Someone did something wrong. They went to a voodoo priest. The voodoo priest was able to figure it out and indemnify the person whole and to judge the person who was evil or wicked or was causing issues within the society. So for someone who's growing in the society, they can say, like some of these witches were saying earlier today, well, I don't delve into the evil side, but I've witnessed the good part of practicing witchcraft or voodoo. Now, we all know that Satan appears as an angel of light, and he presented to Adam and Eve the choice which had good and evil in it. But I don't think that people are able to discern between the two, right? I just wanted to put that out there. That through the Bible, look at the law, statutes, and commandments and what the Most High gave his people, you're able to discern. Okay? Because the nations have always dealt with good and the evil, because the good was always present. The good came from creation itself. It was Satan who began to delve into darkness also and to present both sides. But I don't think people have the knowledge to discern between the two. Now, I wanted to ask you this question real quick, right?
Yes.
You were mentioning to me when I seen you last weekend, which actually led to this particular broadcast, wanted to talk about this publicly, of how the voodoo priests deal with dead, how they're able to do things that people would believe is supernatural in connection with the dead. I need you to drop that real quick, some of the things you've mentioned to me, how they would do certain things for servants and all these things on the left-hand side, under darkness.
Okay. The way, for example, if as a voodoo priest, and this is another way that they serve the community, as a voodoo priest or priestess, if someone in the community had someone that passed away, and they believe that person died unjustly or died and were killed unjustly, they would come to a voodoo priest or a voodoo priestess after 1 year and 1 day. Exactly. It can't be a day before or a day after. It has to be 1 year and 1 day to date from the day of the burial, not the death, but the burial. And then that priest or priestess, through a mirror, is able to summon the dead, to bring that spirit before you, and that spirit after they summon that spirit will come before you through the mirror, and that spirit, you can ask it questions on how it died, who killed it, why they died. And then if that person was deemed to have been killed unjust or without a cause, then the voodoo priest now, the person that came to the voodoo priest would now pay the voodoo priest to send that same spirit, to send the same spirit to haunt, and eventually kill the person that wrongly killed them. And now the priest now or priestess, after that spirit which they summon haunts that person and they die, the priest himself or the priestess has rights over that dead body. And after that person is buried, they would go after 3 days and take that body and enslave that person. Enslave that person. That person now, because of what they did, they will be enslaved until they die of natural causes from the Most High.
Okay.
So,
all right. I wanted to bring that out because it's something you mentioned to me. Now, in bringing this all together, I'm sure there's questions brothers and sisters have out there, right? But just bringing it all together, here's some key points here. First of all, I would just like to know, yes or no, is your mother still dealing with that craft of witchcraft and voodoo?
Well, my mother, all praises to the Most High, she's not dealing with it any longer, because since I started dealing with the Bible, because the biggest obstacle, and it's fear. The devil, Lucifer, Jehovah, Yahweh, has our people in bonds because of fear of death, as the Bible says. And that's why Christ comes, and the sting of death can no longer sting us anymore. So that's what
So what you're saying is she's free from that and no longer serve those lesser gods that bound her for those 4 generations. So what you're saying in essence is that curse that was on your family for generations has been broken.
It has been broken because she was the gatekeeper, so-called person that would keep portraying. And then after she died, if I took over, I would now pass it over to one of my 3 sons. And that's how it keeps going on and on. But she wasn't able to break it. I was able to break it when I came and I found the truth of the Bible. And then she saw how I broke loose from it, because she never broke loose, even though she knew it was bad, because I educated her about this, how bad it was. But because of fear of death, because these spirits, if you leave them, you die. They kill you. They will haunt you and kill you and even kill all your children.
Well, brother,
and even if they can't kill you,
the people would ask, how did you find what broke you from it? How did you find the path you're on? Brothers and sisters would like to know.
The way that I found the path was first renouncing them, finding the courage in Christ, finding comfort and strength through the scriptures, the words of Christ, to renounce those spirits. And I did it very boldly because I had a strong confidence and faith through the words of the Bible that I had power to tread on scorpions and serpents. I truly believed that I had that power in Christ, even though I didn't understand it. But I believed that. So first thing I did, because my mother, she even started giving me her candles, her images. You know, you have a room in the house where you observe these things. I even had that. I had a closet.
A shrine.
I observed these spirits. A shrine. I would go into a closet, just like, she would go. She had a whole room. Me, I had a closet. I would go into the closet and worship and do what I needed to do. And then so once I reached to the Bible now, and I have to say this, I witnessed trauma that these spirits put my mother through. Not only the fire, but no matter what my mother did, my mother at one time was working 3 jobs. And I witnessed my mother work 3 jobs and could never prosper. Couldn't even put food on the table for her children, working 3 jobs. And she was a nurse. She had well-paying jobs. where she couldn't put food on the table, and I knew it was there was a direct correlation with those spirits. Because it always dawned on me, how could this person be working so hard, went to school as an immigrant, defeated all odds, went to school, nursing school by night, worked during the day, went to nursing school at night, but could never prosper, no matter what she did, never prosper. So I said, there has to be a direct correlation with those spirits. And it reached the time that my mother's mental capacity started to diminish, where she started speaking to herself and things like that. And I knew it was the spirits directly doing that because she was contemplating leaving them. So that's what the spirits do. If they can't kill you, they would make you mentally ill. They would make you schizophrenic. So what they call in schizophrenia now, bipolar, is directly connected to spirits tormenting people. And these people that say they are schizophrenic, they are dealing with dementia and all that, they are hearing voices. Schizophrenics, they are hearing voices. But it's the spirits. It's a haunting by spirits, demons, fallen angels. That's all it is. So as I saw that, I said, I'm cutting off. I don't care what happened. I would rather die than live a life like my mother, or raise my children in the condition that I was raised in. I said I would rather die. So my mother, she was pleading with me. She said, "You can't leave. I've had brothers, uncles, aunts that died because they attempted to leave, to renounce these spirits." I said, "Mom, I would rather die, Mom. It's okay if I die. I would rather not live than to give my life over to these spirits and go through what you went through and put my children through what I've been through because of these spirits." So when I joined the church, I visited the church. I was looking for guidance. I didn't know the Bible. One time me and my wife was just walking and we saw a Christian church on a Sunday. I said, I'm going into that church. I need help. Because once I try to renounce them, that's when my troubles began. I started witnessing what my mother was talking about, why she couldn't renounce them. I would be walking broad daylight and I would notice shadows. There would always be a shadow, a shadow like following me. Or if I didn't see that, I would be walking and I'll see a serpent just come out of the grass, like a snake, just come out of the grass and just stare at me. Just as I'm walking now on the sidewalk in a city, just come out and just stare at me. And dreams, I couldn't sleep at all. I was having vivid dreams of spirits like chasing me, persecuting me, vivid dreams. So I couldn't sleep. I started suffering from, I couldn't sleep. So I said, I have to go to a church. I don't know what to expect, but I'm going to run to a church. So I one Sunday I was walking. I saw a church, a Christian church, a Baptist church. I ran in there. And as I sat in there, and when the pastor made the first altar call, he said, anybody wants to accept Christ as their Lord and Savior, this is your time. I answered that altar call. And when I went there, the pastor looked at me. He said, why are you here, my son? I said, the reason why I'm here, I need to renounce Lucifer and all his fallen angels. He said, you sure you want to do that? I said, I do. And once I did that, now my troubles multiplied as far as torments, spiritual torments, hauntings. That doubled, it went to a high level. But now I went back to the pastor. The pastor told me, you know what you're going to do? Start on Psalms 1. Every night before you go to bed, say the Lord's Prayer and read a Psalms. One Psalm. Start at Psalms 1. And he said, and you will be comforted. You will see the demonic activity diminish in your home and in through your nightmares. And as I did that, 1 month in, I noticed it was completely gone. And even all praises to the Most High, even to this day. Elder Rakashia, I can't remember the last time I had a dream. I renounced those spirits in the name of Christ. And since that day, I never looked back. I continue in this word through the Christian church. I started to teach the Bible. And as I started to teach the Bible, I knew something was missing. Because I knew something was missing because as I started to work, I went to work. And where I used to live, I was surrounded by witches. I was surrounded by witches, and these witches, they would see me and tell me, we can't do nothing to you. You're the only person on this block we can't do nothing to. I said, what are you talking about?
What were they trying to do to you? I would ask them, like, hold up, why you up on me? What are you thinking about me for? But go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're probably cooking up those eggs we seen earlier, but go on.
Yes. And plus I had young children.
All right.
And witches, my son was just born, witches, warlocks. When there's young children, they try, because they try to take the soul of that child at a young age, the innocence, it empowers them.
Okay.
So, and these are not Haitians. These are Caucasians.
So you had some Caucasian witches trying to get with you.
Trying to get with me.
Oh, so now, but let's progress this right. Let's progress it real quick. How did you get from there to here? Now you are part of the Gathering of Christ Church. How did that happen?
How did that happen that's where I was going. While I was in the Christian church teaching, and then now I got involved because I was always been fascinated with the spiritual and me having an insight on and how the spirit.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
No, go on.
How the spirits, knowing how the spirit realm and operate on the left-hand side. So when I became in the Christian church, when I went into the Christian church, I went into demonology. I started studying demonology, to the casting out of spirits and things like that, rebuking spirits. But what I noticed is, as I was doing that and calling on the name of Jesus, I was powerless. Even though I knew, because even on the left-hand side, I knew how to maneuver around, like through the enchantments, the evocations. I knew how to maneuver myself in that realm on the left-hand side, and I was getting results. But when I came over to the Christian church now, I wasn't getting results. So I said, something is wrong. The church is powerless. Something is wrong. There's a connection not being made spiritually. So that's when I started to look. And then that's when I stumbled upon, as doing research, and then I stumbled upon GOCC, because I stopped worshiping Christmas and Easter and all that stuff, all the pagan holidays. I was in a non-denominational Christian church. And then when I hear you spoke about the law, because I was adamant against the law. I used to, battle with Seventh-day Adventists all day, that the Sabbath is dead. We don't deal with that. We don't have to. The law is done away with. The law is grievous to us. That's bondage, So I used to always fight against that. And then once I noticed there was no power in the Christian church, I would see people sitting in the church I was going to. They've been going there for 10 years, 15 years on a wheelchair. No one is being healed. Nothing is being done to these people. People on drugs, on alcohol. No matter how much they pray, and these people are coming up to the altar every Sunday for prayer, and nothing is happening. So I said something is wrong. So once I went out to venture and I was studying, reading the Bible, watching videos, and I stumbled upon GOCC. And then you spoke of the law. You spoke of the law, how we have to keep the law in Christ. We have to observe the Sabbath. So now I started off by just keeping the Sabbath. Because everything you were saying, Elder Rakashia, I knew it was true. But the only problem I had, I looked at my wife, I said, this guy, he's a good orator. He's very charismatic. Everything he's saying is true. It checks out. But does he want me to believe that billions of people are off of the day of worship of God? So I was like, that's a stumbling block for me. I was like, I believe everything, but I can't believe that we have to keep the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the day of worship is Saturday. So I continued to listen to you, and after 3 months, my wife said, just listen a little bit more, and then we'll go visit the church. But I listened to you day and night, radio, at work, in my headphones. But there was one thing that did it for me, was the teaching of Melchizedek. Because as a Christian pastor, a teacher, we are taught in theology school, in seminary school, that Melchizedek is Christ. And any person in high levels of theology, they'll tell you without a doubt, Melchizedek is Christ. But I knew that couldn't be true, because when Christ appeared, we knew it was Christ. You know, God is not the one to hide behind something, hide himself. So I said, it doesn't make sense. So once I heard that lesson from you, and once you gave the precepts that Melchizedek was Shem, I said, you know what? That's the sign from God. That's a true teacher. I'm going to church on Sabbath. If that could check out, I'm going to church on a Sabbath. So that's what led me 5 years going strong in the church. That's what led me to this point, to renounce the devil and to keep God's law and reject all forms of mysticism, sorcery. Okay?
Oh, praise be to the Most High, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, brother. I'm here, Elder.
Yeah, let me ask you this now. I'm glad you with the church, brother. All praise be to the Most High, and we can do a show in and of itself, just interviewing you on your transformation and what's the difference between now and then, and how did the Most High lead you out altogether, and now how is He leading you to go back and help those brothers and sisters, your family, who are still under the secret, who's under the dark secret and the veil of darkness that comes from our fall. But we'll have a separate show on that. But let me ask you this real quick.
Yes.
Okay. With all this power, this individual power people have by practicing voodoo and witchcraft, right? I'm just gonna. Yes. I don't know how you'll answer this, but how is it with all that understanding? None of this have. I'm talking about voodoo, African spirituality, and the worship of these spirits for their personal use, whatever the case is. Why haven't any of this helped our people out of our condition? Now, I'm going to ask you this, because the people are using it for all this power, but not yet have come to the degree of understanding of saying, hold up, if this could help me, why can't it help all of us, and why aren't we out of this condition? Are they teaching that all of us must worship witchcraft to be saved? Give me some insight.
Okay. They're not teaching that all must, they're not teaching that all must practice witchcraft to be saved. Because even a voodoo priest himself, even my mother as a voodoo priestess, me even being brought up, being conditioned, groomed to become a voodoo priest, I knew that couldn't save me. And what it is a strong delusion, because a voodoo priest, whatever he does, even if he kills someone, he always in his mind, mentally, psychologically, withdraws himself of any guilt. So it's a strong delusion from the enemy. And also the fact of fear of death. The fear of death that these spirits, if you don't worship them, you're going to die anyway. You're going to die anyway if you don't worship them. So you might as well worship them and get something out of it, because you're going to die anyway, especially if you're chosen. Like me, I'm one of, in my whole family, and to most Haitians today, I would be an outcast. Like, this guy is something completely wrong with him, because no one, the numbers of people that actually, after being chosen, and being groomed to be that from your parents gets out of that. It's like blood in, blood out. To come in, you sacrifice blood. To get out is with your blood. That's what is required. Your soul, your blood, death. And if it's not your blood or your soul, it's going to be your children's blood or soul. So people are afraid of that. And I'm not gonna, I'm not trying to promote this in any way, but certain people that reach certain levels, they reap certain benefits, monetary benefits, spiritual benefits, because once you reach certain levels, you on a spiritual high. Satan shows you certain supernatural things, certain signs, certain wonders that he does. Because as a voodoo priest, these people disappear. You know what they call astral projection? Their body will be one place and they're in another place, going through ley lines, ley lines. So they actually disappearing, getting money. There's sometimes you can ask a spirit for riches, and he'll tell you, when you wake up such and such day, just look under your bed, and there won't even be room for money under your bed or houses. You ask for houses, cars, whatever you ask for. Women, and that's another thing. As a man that was dealing with those spirits, women are like, they drop on you like rain. That's one of the gifts of those spirits. They give you women, and if you're a woman, they give you men. But what they don't tell you is that they jealous. After you're done dealing with all these women or men, they're gonna kill you because they say they jealous. They jealous, So they're gonna kill you because of those same women they gave you or men they gave you. So it's the whole point of it is death. People are afraid of death, and when we look at the condition of the so-called Haitians, Levites in Haiti, what option do they have? The mortality rate, people can't even live to see, most people, your average person in Haiti, don't live to see 50 years anyway. There's no work, there's no school. So the person is faced with, I could die at 50 years old poor, or I could die anyway at 50, but at least reap certain carnal, spiritual benefits, power, glory, So that's what they're dealing with, They're being dealt two hands. Both is no good.
Okay.
So
Okay, well, brother, I wanted to ask you some questions because you have lived it throughout generations. There's a lot that we've delved into and talked about, even on top of some of the things you revealed to me, the other day while I was in Florida. And I thought it would be an interesting conversation because some brothers and sisters believe to some degree that they can't break free from it. And I'll tell you this. What I'm finding more and more with each day of this awakening is that there's more people that's delving into and dealing with the occult, witchcraft, and sorcery that can be quantified. And it's to the degree I'm starting to think that at least 90%, if not a higher percent of our people are dealing with witchcraft in some form or fashion unknowingly within our system. You understand? Be it picking up the paper, looking at their astrology, or walking down the street and may see a palm reader and sneak in there real quick and say, well, let me see if it works. Or getting with their girlfriend or some other friend who say, well, I've used this particular saying by writing it on a paper when it comes to love potions and all that, or a love note so that I can actually get someone or have a secret or have someone come in my circle who will desire me. Like, there's a lot of things that's going on within our society that's second nature that I don't believe our people actually realize it's witchcraft. You understand? Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Because in the Bible, it tells us in Genesis 49, it says Levi and Simeon are brothers, which is the Dominicans, which are predominantly on our side. The Dominicans and the Haitians living on the same island, right? And our father Jacob said, "Don't come into their secret." Because on one side of the island, voodoo is being worshipped or exercised as the highest religion, even though Christianity is there, as well as Santa Maria and different forms of witchcraft, of Catholicism that's amongst the Spanish people in the Dominican Republic. So it says, don't come into their secret. At the end, they live on the same area or terrain and have a secret, which we know when they had a book out there called The Secret. And a lot of people don't even understand that these particular books, when it comes to secret, are actually dark, occult understandings that leading people down paths to hell. That secret. Because why? There's no secret when it comes to the Most High, right? He's out front. There's nothing that he can't say that everyone cannot hear and be a part of. But yet there's these secrets that are going on, which are really witchcraft, voodoo, Santa Maria, witchcraft, whatever the case may be. Let me ask, if you had a message that can get your brothers, the Levites, out of this particular condition, if they were to fall on this video today, how would you quantify and give them some insight on how to go and what to do to escape that religion going forward? What would you do to quantify that or to help them out? Okay.
What I would tell them is look at our history. Look at our history and look at where we are today. A people so rich of history, tradition, culture, wisdom, but we could never excel. We are the first country to gain independence, but the last country to evolve. And all of this is a direct correlation to our practices of voodoo, and breaking God's law. There's no time when we look back as us as a nation, a people, a country, where we, dealing with voodoo, excelled, were ever prosperous. So something must be wrong. We have to look at our spiritual, because we do all things, everything that we could do carnally, we've tried them, we've done them, they didn't work. So the problem must be us being such a spiritual people, it must be spiritual. So we got to go back, look into ourselves, look into this Bible, and start at keeping God's law. And to see our captivity, our poverty, our misery be reversed. That's the only thing we got to do. And me saying that is, us as Levites, and I know many biblical texts, extra biblical texts talk about this, the Testament of Levi and things like that talks about this, that as Levites, the number one thing that Levi men, majority of them, men and women deal with is adultery and fornication. The Levites, they're not really murderers. They don't even really lie. They don't really steal. The biggest sin we deal with as a people is adultery and fornication. And when I look at, and me being on that, coming from that left-hand side, fornication and adultery is a direct portal, direct gateway for those evil spirits to enter you. So we must stop that. We must start with getting away from our adulterous and fornicating ways, because these spirits, the highest spirits in voodoo, their manifestation, their form of worship is through sexual magic. So that's the highest form. That's how you know a priest knows he has achieved. His power is at his heights, is once he is done with the animal sacrifice, the food sacrifice, the children, he's done with the human sacrifice, and he progresses into sexual magic, like Aleister Crowley, the man, the beast, the highest, at his height, he was performing sexual magic. That's why fornication for the Levites is big, adultery, and that's a gateway. And with that said, Elder Ricard, there's one thing I want to say as far as health. of the Levites and even the Benjamites, West Indians, and even Latinos, all the majority of the children of Israel, because of this fornication and this adultery we deal with, that's an entry, a gateway for these spirits to enter you. Amongst the women in the Levite community, because I'm Levi, I grew up around a lot of Levites, I witnessed a majority, if almost not all, Levite women suffer from fibroids. And when I looked into fibroids is directly connected with fornication and adultery, because what happens is these spirits, the women marry these spirits. They get married to these spirits, and these spirits come to them and have intercourse with these women at night in their through dreams. And the fibroids itself, if you ask a doctor, what are fibroids? They're a bunch of little eggs. They're a bunch of little eggs. And that is like the spirit depositing into the woman. And it blocks her ovaries, her uterus, and they can't have children. And that's why when they go into these doctors and they see those, what they call them fibroids and tumors, they just pull it out their whole ovaries. Because those spirits, and in the world, they call these spirits,
boy, this is deep.
We call them another thing. But in America, they call these two spirits incubus and succubus.
Succubus, yes.
Succubus. So these are the spirits that come and they impregnate women. And not only with that fornication comes that fibroids, but that's why homosexuality now is rampant amongst Israel. Because now those spirits come, if you're a male spirit will come and lie with you. You're a female spirit comes and lies with you. So now you become attracted to the same sex and don't even understand why. Don't even understand why. So fornication and adultery is a gateway, big for our people. So I would, and I'm speaking on it, I'm touching it because Levi deal with that big time. They deal with that big time, So, and a lot of them are sick because of it, and we are being degraded spiritually and not prospering as a people or a nation because we breaking God's law. So if any Levite is listening today, so-called Haitian, first of all, leave voodoo because you're not prospering. Our demise, our lack of prosperity is directly connected to voodoo. It's never been good for us. It'll never be good for us, and it's going to bring us straight to hell after a life of misery. So I'll come back to God's laws. As it says in Malachi, the priests, the whole Israel, went off because of the priests. So now for Israel to rise again, the priests must rise, and then the kings, and then a nation will be able to be built. If you have your kings, you have your priests, then the nation will have spiritual governance, judge, rule, and physical through the kings. So the priests must come back. And that's why till this day, Haiti, no matter what it does, the powers that be, France, Canada, America, they make sure they don't know nothing else, but they made a covenant, a pact amongst themselves. No matter what happens, make sure those Levites, those so-called Haitians, those priests never rise. Because if we rise, they know the whole 12 tribes will rise. Because we are the reason that they fell, because when we went off, caused all of them to go off. So if we come back to these laws, guess what? They all will come back to the laws also. So that's why they make sure Haitians are always underfoot. You see, they'll give the Simeon a leeway. They'll give Jamaica a little leeway. They'll give the West, but Haiti, we make sure you don't eat. Even mud pies now we can't get. They make sure even the mud pies we can't get now. So that we would never return to the Most High and keep His laws. So that's all I wanted to say, Elder Wakar.
Hey, shalom, brother. Let me tell you, this was a great conversation, and what I'm going to attempt to do this week, You seen those sisters that were on the broadcast or the news program pronouncing or just pronouncing their love and obsession with witchcraft over Christianity. I'm gonna work to try to have them on the broadcast next week. These sisters who denounce Christianity are now open witches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite them on and just have a dialogue and just say, well, just come on and let us know why you choose witchcraft over Christianity. We'll let you have the floor and say what you have to say, and make sure after we give them the opportunity, we also say, well, if you can give us an ear, we can give you some insight on the origin of these particular spirits and deities you may have thought originated in Africa. Let's have that dialogue, because if you knew you were doing evil, would you continue in it? Right? So when I have this conversation about the spirits, because they call it ancestors, but you know better based on your, your generational religions of voodoo through your family. You know better to call them ancestors. You know exactly who those spirits are. And maybe you can express that, say, well, sister, you call them this, but let me give you some background. Let me give you some insight on the true history of these particular spirits, right? Because what I would like to do is be objective to the degree in which they stay around for at least over 30 minutes. Because so I'm going to allow you and others to come through to be that, because I'll just cut it and nip it in the bud. If it was just me, I would just cut them and let them know where the Most High is going to do if they don't continue. But what good is a dialogue and a broadcast if we don't at least get out their full, understanding and the reasons for them delving into it? So I'm praying that the Most High, have me patient through it. But I want it to be some level of objectivity, on either level. So, of course, I'm going to try to get them on next week. And, usually if you give them the floor, they'll flow with it. You understand? And through it, they'll just, I'm going to tell you right now, it's like them having shovels. And by the time they finish their conversation, they're 10 feet deep already. All right. You understand? So I'm going to invite them on next week, and we're going to have, we're going to just call it a conversation with witches. A conversation with witches and the occult, whatever they would like to call themselves. And I'm going to start off with them, what are they doing with fruit in the river? What are they doing scrambling those eggs with hot sauce on it, looking for a man? Listen, I'm going into it next week. You don't want to miss this. All right.
And Elder, that sister that's saying, sometimes she could be a good witch or a bad witch, depending on what energy the person presents. She's not so innocent. She knows exactly what she's dealing with, because to be at the level she's in, as a priestess, there's sacrifices that had to be made. There's encounters and that was made. She had to have made, especially with the spirits she's dealing with. She's dealing with the spirit at its raw form from Yoruba, from West Africa. Yeah. So she's dealing with it raw. It's not even the sugar coated, because a lot of people deal with them like the sugar coated, watered down way. She's dealing with them raw, straight from out of Yoruba, West Africa. So those spirits, she's dealing with the Shango and all of that. For you to even deal with those spirits, they're not even dealing with you if there's not certain sacrifices made. And I'm talking about certain blood sacrifices.
Let's get straight to it. We're going to get to the research and ask those questions.
Yes.
Like there's history of child sacrifice within some of those rituals too. What do you think? What do you think about killing babies? Right. We're going in. I know she's going to ask, well, who is this? But listen, I'm going to let y'all flow it first, because I'm going to tell you, once you destroy the head witch, those impressionable girls who are under a spell can be set free. And I can tell that she has a spell on the other girls that's amongst them by telling them, oh, yeah, you can get a man. Listen, if you got to scramble some eggs and put some hot sauce on it and give it to a god to get a man, You already have you already done lost. You have lost in the game already. Okay.
And Elder,
You have
I
lost
can tell
before
you
you
something.
began. Let me whip up some eggs to this goddess Shuma or whoever she is and say, put some hot sauce on it. Yeah, I'm gonna get me a spicy man. Let me tell you. Let me
And
tell you.
Elder,
What
Elder, I
you
can tell you
gonna get
something.
is a demonic simp. Okay, that's what you're gonna get in this world today. You ain't not gonna get no real man scrambling some eggs, put some hot sauce on it, giving it to a demon.
Right.
So I'm gonna break it down to the lowest level, starting with her interview. We're gonna break that thing down, my brother. Let's go.
And Elder, there's something I want to say about that. You see that same eggs and she's whipping up with hot sauce. She's saying it's for the spirit.
Yeah.
That food is going to be left for the man. And in Haiti, they call it a charm.
Yeah.
She going to feed it. The spirit going to tell her to, when she do find a man, to feed it to the man. And if that man leaves, he liable almost to die. There's people in Haiti that these women have done that to them. And they would die of a stomachache because that same food that they prepared for the spirit to get the man, the spirit later on tells them, make sure you hold this food so you can keep the man. And if he ever tries to go, he's liable to almost die.
Man, listen.
They call it in Haiti.
Hey, brother, don't bring it all out right now. We're gonna save this for next week. You know what I mean? We're coming with some spiritual uppercuts and left hooks next week. All right. And any witch out there going to receive them. All right. So anyway, brother, I'd like to say thank you for coming on, and we're gonna get them on next week. And guess what? It's going to be a serious show next week, part 2 of this. But we're gonna, we're bringing the witches on next week. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Because we have to set our young sisters free from this, because they're doing it, believing that this is the will of the Most High for them to get a husband and to live a happy life and have children, to get a family. But they walking straight into the pits of hell.
Hey, brother, I'm gonna tell you right now, and all these women that was in that circle with some lettuce and oranges, all of them are without men. So that's a sign within itself. So one of my first questions is going to be, have you found them yet? Okay, so don't worry about it. I got my questions written down for them. But all in all, what I'm about to do now is, you can stay on if you would like. What I'm going to do, matter of fact, we're just going to say shalom, brother, because I know you have a long day tomorrow. I'm going to open it up for a few questions, but I wanted to end this, with a few scriptures real quick, where the Bible says, let me read this real quick. And then I'm going to open it up phone calls. So if you would like to call us from YouTube land, being that Blog Talk done hung up, you can call us in about 3 minutes. I'm going to give you the cue when to call. I'm going to give the phone number, and you can call in if you're looking at us on YouTube if you have a question or comment before we bow out tonight. But next week we're bringing on the witches. Okay, it's going to be a literal witch hunt up in there. And the scriptures will prevail over the sorcerers and witches. Okay. Now, I'm going to read this real quick in 2nd Ezra 16. It says right here. 2nd Ezra 16:66 says, "What will you do? Or how will you hide your sins before God and his angels? Behold, God himself, Ahiah, is the judge. Fear him, leave off from your sins, and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall the Most High lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols." You notice that in all of these particular witchcraft hubs, they're bringing sacrifices to idols for resolve, for answers. Okay, so be careful what you're eating, because it's actually that food is casting spells on you. Whether you go to the Chinese store and they got an altar there, understand that they went to those spirits to say, well, listen, if they eat this food, it will entice them to give us more business and have us control them. Same thing with the East Indians. The same thing if you go into one of these restaurants and there's a Allah there and you see the rock and all that crap with people marching around it in a Muslim place. Understand that they've prayed to spirits for prosperity and to have you serve them to the degree in which they will grandize themselves financially over you, and through you eating their food, the spells are spun. This thing is deeper than you think, brothers and sisters. The same thing with this African spiritualism garbage. You thinking a person is, oh, they vegan, they're healthy. They're praying all types of demons in that food, and now all the confusion and carnage and death and destruction going on in our neighborhoods is a direct result of it. Y'all don't understand how it works. You think these are just stores being set up in your neighborhoods. No. These people sacrifice the demons and pray to demons in the food they're serving to you. You don't see them setting up those stores in the suburbs and the white neighborhoods and all that like you would see within a 1 mile radius where we live at, do you? Think about it. Part of the confusion and the chaos going on is because all of these pieces, all these nations are coming over here with demons trying to get a piece of the pie. And you are the pie. Not America. You are the servants. It says here, for behold, a burning wrath of great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, those who are ignorant, destroyed for a lack of knowledge, and feed you. You want some food? Restaurant. Being idle with things offered unto idols. The same way they have these spirits answer them and serve them. Well, when you eat the food, you become their servants. A perpetual slave. We're teaching you how to break free, folks. We have to get to the degree in which when we go to the store, we get our own food and whip up our own food. And we pray over that food. You don't understand the power when it comes to certain masteries and dark science. On every level, it's about control and power over us. We're dropping it on you. Come on, man. Come on.
Yes, sir. Just one quick point. I'm glad you mentioned that based on that, because a lot of people are now, the question to come up, can we eat eggs with hot sauce? And no one is saying that eggs with hot sauce is wrong to eat.
You can't put eggs with hot sauce and put it under some steps looking for a man.
Exactly.
This guy's walking down the steps, don't even know some scrambled eggs is up under his step, so that he can fall in love with some sister in apartment 6B. She's scrambling eggs and putting it up under his steps. Look, just go to the man and say you like him. Put down witchcraft and sorcery and submit yourself. Come on, let's go. I'm sorry. They got me stirred up in here. Let's go. What else you got, Elder Lawyer?
That's it. I mean, there were a few things that came to mind as he was going. Scriptures came to mind, but I think at this point we could probably get to some of those calls.
Let's get to some of the calls. Let me put out the number real quick. Brother, I'm going to hang up with you and I'll call you after the broadcast. Wonderful job, brother. And of course, Nathan Ben Israel, we can thank him for coming in. He's a deacon in Florida. And you know what? His testimony was so profound while we were in Florida. I thought that he would come and say, come on here live on our broadcast and give a testimony so that we can warn our people about these wicked devices against us, okay? And it's not just on the outside of us. It's what we're doing one amongst another and identify the witchcraft we allow within our own homes, okay? We need to talk about it, address it, and run away from it. Thank you, my brother.
All right, thank you. All praises to the Most High, Elder. And I would like to thank you and Elder Lawyer for allowing the Most High to use you guys as a vessel to enlighten me out of my darkness. All praises to the Most High.
Well, thank you, my brother. All praises. Shalom.
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 All right. All right. So we're only going to open it up for about a few phone calls, and I'll just open it up real quick. 215-253-4448. Okay. 215 253-4448. And of course, I have a few announcements after this, but I'll answer a few calls. And guess what, brothers and sisters? Of course, let's make these calls nice, nice and short. Look, already. Lord have mercy. Oh, okay. Mr. Lavelle, do me a favor and turn down your... hey, brother, just turn down your background. Talk to me, Lavelle. Come on, talk to me.
All right, one moment.
All right. Boy, they don't waste no time, ain't it? Come on, Lavelle, talk to me. I'm about to go.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know he's going to bring me on that quick.
No, you live. Talk to me.
That question you asked earlier about why our people tend to be migrating to this witchcraft stuff.
Okay.
Because one of my close friends, it seemed like the truth ain't good enough. A lot of people leaving Christianity, for them, it's like they losing faith because it's they have no earthly results. It's like the prosperity doctrine ain't working for them, and they want instant gratification. People are not really interested in the future kingdom.
Oh.
A lot of people, they seeking power. You know what I mean? It's like they want something right now, and they looking for a way to get either wealth or they looking for some type of means of combat. You know what I mean? Like spiritual warfare. The other two things that everybody doing it in different ways. Like my friend Bobby, he got into astrology, and a lot of people want to be seen as something, some kind of spiritual guide, some kind of spiritual leader, and it ain't good enough to be, go down the route of a bishop, a pastor, or whatever the case. So people finding themselves, oh, I'm a spiritualist, and they heaping to themselves people as if they some type of guru of some sort. And a personal friend of mine started studying astrology for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden he got people coming to him for birth charts and spiritual readings, and now he want to charge people money, $20 here and there to read their birth chart. So I think the last thing is people are, due to miseducation and sin, because people want to they want a form of spiritualism, but at the same time they don't want to follow no commandments. So they start identifying with African roots, African spiritualism, because it allows you to live your life with sin and have some type of spiritual identity. I think that's the main reason people choose Egypt or Kemet or any of these other types of things, because you can continue your life but still feel like you doing something. And, that was my whole comment.
Well, brother, I'm glad you brought that in. They're doing it for vainglory, recognition, and it's not good enough just being a child of the Most High and following his commandments. You have to be recognized like Simon Mangans was in the book of Acts. Oh, no, I don't want to get under obedience for the Holy Spirit. I want to pay for the Holy Spirit so I can use some magic and be recognized outside of the power of Christ. And I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Anyone in their right mind wouldn't follow African spirituality. Last time I checked, Africa has lost. Right. Africa is losing.
That's right.
Okay. So the whole thing is, if we couldn't stand in our power at the height of our power, how going back to that is going to have us overcome the quote unquote white man? It's nothing but a gimmick to take advantage of the ignorant and the oppressed. Africa is not the answer. Africa has taken an L, and the L will exist, will continue until a savior comes. Okay? Well, thank you, brother. Great points. Hang up so I can bring the next person in. All right.
All right. Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, my brother. You made some. Oh, yeah. Come on in. Okay, 608. Talk to me. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. Talk to me.
How you doing, brother Elder Rakashiar?
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahia. And we'll be slaying witches in a week or two. Talk to me.
Yes, sir. Awesome. I just wanted to say that I can attest to what the brother is saying. I got a friend from Haiti, and he said, it's nothing to be in Haiti and as a child and to see a talking skull and like the witchcraft and just the demonic warfare is just really high there. And one of the things that he struggled with and suffered for a great time with is sexual, is lust and fornication. And that's like one of his biggest battles and one of his biggest testimonies of deliverance from.
Okay.
So I can testify that, you know, that's definitely something that's really strong in the culture. And I was talking because I have a coworker who he did some missionary work over in Haiti, and he was over there with the Catholic Church, and he was doing some missionary work, and you know, helping some of the local kids. Some of the kids are like they're pretty much treated like throwaways if they have any kind of handicaps or disabilities, and so the Catholic sanctuaries will take them in and feed them. And he was, you know, doing some work locally, and he came across one of the voodoo doctors or whatever, and the man like basically he spit some dust in his face, and he gave him a stick, and the stick had like a chicken foot on it, and he basically spoke over him and said that if you depart from this stick, you depart from this world because your soul is tied into this stick. And so my coworker, he came back here. He's an ex-soldier and stuff, and he came back here, and he's like, he has the stick to this day. He brought it into the office, and you know, was just a young, reckless guy. You know, HR had him remove it because people were vexed by the by the stick because of the spirits, obviously.
Yeah,
and
you ain't
I
bringing no
know
sticks
that
up
he
in the air.
believes in the power of it because he was told at the airport he had to cut the feet off because they wouldn't allow him to keep the chicken feet on the stick, but he was able to bring the stick back with him. And he, I know he believes in it because he will not.
We have to get to the next call, brother. You have to wrap it up. Come on, wrap it up. This guy running around with chicken feet. Okay, come on, talk to me. Chicken feet in the stick.
So I just know that the spirit is tied into the voodoo and witchcraft. And is there any way that he can depart from this curse that he's under, or is it tied into his beliefs?
Listen. He can overcome that by repenting for exercising witchcraft from the beginning, come back to the God who made him, be baptized for the remission of sins, and any curse that's on him will become a curse to those who have cursed him. I'm a child of Abraham, and the Most High says, blessed are those that bless thee, and cursed are those that curse thee. When you accept Christ, no weapon on this earth that's formed against you shall prosper. And I don't just believe that, I know that. Okay, let me tell you, all that stuff that they're doing under Satan is chicken scratch. It means nothing if you don't believe in it. Okay, so they become fearful, and it's nothing. Okay, let me tell you, Satan hear Christ's voice and tremble. So if he trembles, what about his little peons and agents that these so-called witches and warlocks are using? They're nothing. Okay?
That's right.
And they only have as much power as the children of Israel yields to them.
As you give them.
Exactly. We have the Most High's name, and there's no higher name under heaven whereby man can be saved. We know Ahia is at the top of it all. We know Yeshua is at the top of it all. So let me tell you.
That's right.
These demons have no wins at all. And they only usually capture the ignorant. The ignorant.
That's right.
And the oppressed who don't realize that the real refuge has been there for us all along. It's just that the Christian pastors never taught us how to get access to that power. And that's the issue. They've insulated power for themselves because they're looking to control the people like the demons who are controlling them. But I'll leave that till next week. I'll leave that till next week. Thank you, brother. Great points.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Okay, great points. Let's get to the next one here. Oh, they coming in. Oh, Lord, have mercy. They coming in. I'm only going to take two more. Come on. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. Elder Ricard Shiard, talk to me.
Shalom, elders. My name is Sister Ariana. I'm part of the church in GLTC, Florida.
Yes.
My question for you is, can someone be possessed by demons without asking that demon to enter into their temple?
Well, usually when it comes to demonic it has nothing to do with whether or not you ask. It's usually through actions. Okay, if you're if you're sinning, okay, that's the gateway, that's the door. Knowingly or unknowingly, if you are sinning, a demon is present. A demon, you have now given a demon access. A demon access to all temple is sin. Period.
And also, does that also have to do with the food that we eat as well? As far as like people praying over that food, can a demon unknowingly enter into us if we're eating food from sacrifices?
See, but not if you're under Christ, not if you're under that protection.
Okay.
But again, if I walk into a store and I see an altar with some food on it, I'm turning around. You don't have enough respect to even hide this madness you're doing. I'm not eating that garbage. So if I run in there and see an altar and they got something up on there, I'm like, listen, deuces. All right? Sister, I'm about to get the next call on, all right?
All right. Thank you so much for answering my question. Pray that you be blessed. Thank you.
All right. Bless you. Shalom. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. I'm rolling down.
Shalom, brother.
Shalom. Elder Ricard, talk to me.
Shalom. I'm a brother from Haiti, and I was listening to the other brother from Haiti that was speaking.
Oh, we got another Levite. On this evening. Talk to me, Levi.
Well, that's one of the things that I want to talk about. I saw the chart that says that Haitians are Levites, but according to the revelation the Most High gave to my parents, I have reasons to believe that I am a Judah.
Okay. Well, brother, I'm not going to ignore if the Most High have shown you something outside of what we know, then go with it. But I know this. I know Judah, Benjamin, and Levi was both in the southern kingdom. So it would be totally ignorant of me to believe that none of Judah went into Haiti with Levi. But we're talking about we're talking about when it comes to number, the highest percentages of those according to prophecy is what our father Jacob gave each son. So if something was revealed to you that you one of those Judites of the smaller percentages of those that went into the island, and you are one of those, then albeit so be it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, another thing I'd like to mention, people are completely ignorant, as to the power, of the dark side. Because as someone who's from Haiti, I have seen enough to know what's, really going on. And I don't think you can find one Haitian who grew up in Haiti that says that they haven't seen demons. And when my mother was pregnant with me, and I wasn't even supposed to be born, actually. And it was the day that I was born, God sent a messenger to the hospital to give me my name. So my name is Daniel.
Okay, hey brother, you got to make it quick, 2 minutes, because we have enough calls in. You got to speed it up within 30 seconds.
Right. So my name is Daniel. According to the Most High, I was born in the lion's den.
Okay.
And that's how I know I'm a Judah, and the Most High already has his seal on me, before I was actually born.
Okay.
And from the moment. Yeah, from the moment I was born, I was under persecution, and I've seen demons and all that, So yeah, I do know that the dark side exists, and it's not something you want to play with, actually.
Thank you, brother, for warning our people, and of course, stay away from the dark side. I appreciate you, brother. Okay, bless you, brother.
Bless
all
you.
right, shalom. I hear people are saying the chart is false. Well, don't look at it. Okay, if the chart is false, don't look at it.
Right.
For those that benefit and see the benefit of it, that's all good. Okay, so if it's false, don't look at it. Mm-hmm. If it does all that to you. Mm-hmm. Ready?
Keep in mind, you're watching the channel, and I guess I can only assume benefiting from the information of a church that believes.
Yeah, we understand the chart. So we didn't come to your channel, and we don't even know what you're dealing with. So Welcome to the chart. Shalom. Okay, I'm hearing myself. Okay. Talk to me.
Shalom.
Shalom. Talk to me,
Shalom.
sister.
Shalom, Elder Kasha. I'm from Haiti also. I'm with the JOCC Toronto.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So I'm from Haiti. So one thing I want to say, like growing up in Haiti, I'm a child of a pastor. So yeah, I'm child of a pastor, and not all the Haitian like growing up like with on voodoo. So like my family, we never like know anything with voodoo. But the thing is just like still, it's after I get married. So then I get like some attack start coming in from like the bad side, like I said, like some people who doing voodoo stuff on them. I remember after I get married, so I was pregnant, my first child. Then after that, I was working in a hotel. Then in the front desk and stuff like this. There's after I have my child was born. Then there's one man in there coming and told me like I was to see him and stuff like this. But for some reason I didn't.
You got to wrap it up, sister. You got to relax and get it out. You relax and think about it because
I have like to go.
Sister.
That well, then I left that.
Sister, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, listen. I'm going to need you to relax and get it out within 60 seconds. Okay.
Yes.
It seems like you're rushing. So, and through that, you're not being clear. 60 seconds. Come on, give it to me.
Okay. So what's happened? Then I get like I was attacked. Then that man just tell me, you know, whatever you are doing, what you are. And I say I'm Christian and stuff like this. And he said like no, like whatever you are doing, there's somebody who was like try to get through you, but they couldn't get to you. Like the man was saying earlier. So when they will try to do stuff to you, but if you're innocent or whatever and stuff like this, they're not gonna get through.
Okay.
It's one thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sister. Great point you just made, and that's I'm gonna go to the next call real quick. Thank you, sister. And what the sister is saying is correct. Okay. What the sister's saying is correct. It doesn't matter what they try to do to you. If you're in Christ, you're okay. Don't worry about it. You will be protected. Hold on real quick. I seen this sister call here. Shalom, sister. I seen you call around 3 times and hung up, so I thought I would bring you in. Speak to us, sister.
Oh, I was saying, good evening. I was listening to the brother, the deacon, who spoke from Florida earlier.
Yes.
And I was shocked about a lot of the things he said. I mean, it's not, of course, it's not a lie, it's true. But growing up in a Haitian home, I remember my mother telling me, because I grew up Christian, so a lot of the things he was saying to me basically was new to me. Because I remember my mother always telling me, in relation to what he said, my mother always told me, Catholics are evil, things like that, because we were Methodists. We went to church on Sundays, we were Methodists. Catholics are evil. When you pray, you don't do the, crucifixion signs that they do. You don't wear crosses around your neck, things like that. And as he was talking, and I was relating to that, but I was going to say the same thing that the sister just said, so that's why I really hung up when I heard her talking. If you're in Christ, none of these things have anything to do with you, so they don't have any power over you. And I remember with my ex-husband, when I got married, when he would pray, initially he would do the crucifixion sign, and I'll tell him, like, why do you do that? You're not Catholic. And he told me, well, that's something he grew up doing, even though, he grew up Baptist. And I would tell him, well, that's like a sign that those things are idols, and I didn't grow up like that. But as he was talking, I could remember my mother telling me, stay away from Catholics when you get older. You marry a Christian. Catholics are not Christians. And anybody who's Catholic, and this is what my mom said, and as I grew up, I was learning that. Anybody who grew up who was Catholic, they practice voodoo, growing up in Haiti. I lived in Haiti for 10 years, but I was just shocked by some of the things you were saying.
Well, thank you, sister. And that's a good point that you're making, that this is not saying all of Levi practice in the dark arts. And I'm glad there are people who were born in Haiti who have always fought against that wickedness and evil. And I'm glad that she was able to bring forth and understand it. Her mother understood growing up what it was and wanted to shield her children from the wickedness. Great point, sister. All right.
All right.
Thank you. Bless you, sister. We'll talk soon. Bless you. All right. This is Marie from okay, great. Shalom. Gathering of Christ, GOCC.
Hi.
I'm gonna take about. You gotta be quick with it because I'm well over. I'm about 2 hours over. Talk to me, sister.
Okay, here's the thing. I touched a man, and I believe God used me to heal the man, and he woke up out the coma. All I did was whisper his name after fasting and praying all night. And the whole church thinks what I did was evil. I'm no longer invited there, which I don't want to go anyway. But, I mean, is it wrong? I did exactly what I read that Christ did and that he said we do, and he woke up. The thing is, they're saying that I'm evil because a few days later, the man died.
Man, that's a rough deal. You got yourself into something. Oh, here's the question. Did you speak to the pastor concerning this? Were you under the guidance of the pastor, or you just did this on your own volition?
I did it. I was visiting a church with my brother-in-law. He was the co-pastor of the church, and they went to talking about Brother Mike still in the coma, and he's doing real bad, and he's not getting better. And the next week I went with my brother-in-law again, and they just kept saying he's getting worse. So I raised my hand, and I said, how about we all go over there and heal him? And he said, well, we don't do that anymore, sister. We don't do that in these days now. We have medicines for that. And I just felt like it was, I don't know. Later on that night, I went to work. I was about to eat, and I promise you, brother, I got this.
Yeah, but sister, I know you, we're dealing with limited time. I'm trying to get straight to it. What I was asking was you doing this under permission of the elders of the church, or did you go on your own volition to do something outside of their guidance?
I went on my own. That wasn't my church. That was my brother-in-law's church. I don't belong to a physical church.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, sister, whatever you're going to do, and if you have certain convictions that you feel the Most High is compelling you to do, whatever that is, you have to understand what comes with your choices. You understand? The whole deal is this. We have a church, right? And the Most High have entrusted certain gifts amongst the elders according to position in our church to perform certain acts, okay, according to the gifts given. And see, I don't know what the schematics are with that church and why you felt a need to do what you want to do. So I can't pass judgment. I don't know what that is one way or the other. All I can say is I've never seen a scenario in which the disciples were tasked with healing and someone would do something on their own outside of guidance. Okay. I don't know what the schematics and the situation is. But I can't say who's right or wrong in this.
Okay, but I'll tell you this too, brother. It's been about 3 or 4 more times since that I've been used to do the exact same thing, especially with a little boy that had a 105 fever, and the Most High just possessed me. I touched him. He jumped off the deep freezer. His mom called him back inside, like, what the heck wrong? She took his temperature again, and it was 98.6.
Hey, sister,
And I believe
sister,
the church can do this.
sister, listen to what I'm saying. All due respect to whatever you think you got going. Good. What I'm saying is, all women was under the obedience of men in the scriptures.
Right.
So because you don't know from which side it come, because you don't have no guidance, there may be a spirit working on the dark side that you don't know about. So just like you can take credit for when you're healing someone, you have to also begin to understand that if someone said someone died a few days later, you just can't take credit for all the good stuff. If you have your hand in it, then you can expect to be blamed when something go wrong, right?
That's very true, brother. The thing is, I don't take credit for any of the 4 things that it turned out good and none of them died. And I also don't take credit for this either, because I really believe this was something between him and the Most High, and that I had nothing to do with it.
Of course,
Especially
sister, of course the bad thing you had nothing to do with. What I'm saying above all, sister, is to back up from it all and get under some level of obedience when it comes to men, because the Most High is using men, and let the men allocate that power, so that you don't have to deal with either side of it. It's time.
Right,
it's time for women to let go and give all that power to man. And if the man see fit that the Most High is using to use you, then you're utilized that way, like it once was under the churches. Okay?
Right. That's the answer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bless you.
Okay.
Oh, I think we're there. Oh, I can take one more. That's it. This thing is getting deeper and deeper as it goes. All right, one more call. Talk to me.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, but I just have one thing to talk about, and that's the fibroid, because that's plaguing the Black women. I just want to say that I've had fibroids before, and had them removed last year. So that kind of took me and, blown me away. Like, my heart is still beating fast from that. I'm like, what? So, I'm kind of like blown away, but I'm glad, all praises that I viewed your show tonight, to get all this information, and I appreciate that.
Well, above all, sister, you understand that the Most High is utilizing the work, and I'm glad the brother came on. And if there's any information that can get out there to help our people, keep in mind, this is what the platform's for. Okay, it's not to judge anyone. It's not to look down upon anyone. It's have everyone examine it and take the piece that belongs to them, that they know the Most High is sending to them as a key indicator to allow all of us, his sons and daughters, to come back in earnest, in a repentant and contrite heart, to fall back under that hedge, okay, that our forefathers walked from under. We need to get back under that and understand that, okay, I was born in sin. I didn't know right from wrong. And time passed, the Most High winked in my ignorance. I'm not going to come down. No one in this earth right now, none of us are proud of our past. But we have everything to do with our steps going forward. Okay? So that's the point. So I'm glad that I didn't know that was going to come out in the midst of the discussion, but it hit you. Like you say, it hit you and you understood it. It's like, well, okay. It did. Sister, let me tell you, that piece the Most High had for you, sister. Okay?
I appreciate that. Yep, thank you.
You're welcome, and bless you.
Okay, shalom.
All right, shalom. All right. The real last call. Oh, Lord have mercy. One more call. That's it, folks. I'm gone. I have one more announcement. Then we're going to wish you all Godspeed. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Yes. Hi, brother. How you doing? Yes, I wanted to bring up the winter indoor when Solomon had
went to start out as psychic because the Lord didn't speak to him anymore.
Yeah, I remember that. Talk to me.
Yeah. When she had brought the prophet Samuel up,
Yeah.
See, in the Christian church, they say that was a demon, but
No, that
it
wasn't
never
a demon.
specifies thing.
That wasn't a demon. That was Samuel.
That was Samuel himself.
That was Samuel.
Yeah.
See, they were, and to this degree, there's some people on this earth that are dealing with that high power that can actually go into Haze and actually introduce souls. But that's high level. That's high level. But yes, that was Samuel.
Okay. Oh, and about the Africa Hamites. So, like, being that Hamites are, I know that supposedly could be some that sprinkled amongst Israelites that sprinkled amongst the Hamites. And that we picked up some of that witchcraft from them.
No. Let me correct you straight off the cuff on that. See, this is what our people do. We point to, it was the white man, it's the African. Right. No, the Most High warned us not to deal with it. That's right. We're suffering the curses because we began to deal in witchcraft and dark secrets. Like the Lord says that at the end, Levi and Simeon are brethren, come not into their secret. This is witchcraft. So I'm tired of us passing the buck. Say, it's some Hamites amongst us. Nah, It's us. Okay, there's no Hamites sneaking around giving us some crack cocaine to sell. That's us.
Right.
Okay, so let's stop passing the buck. The Hamites are going to get whatever they're going to get for their sin against Israel. But it's time for us to start looking inwardly and realize and stop pointing the finger to everyone else. I don't hear about no Hamites and no one else. It's us.
Right.
And because I'm telling you, because a lot of these Israelite groups, and I know because I was a part of it in the 90s, all the way up to the 2001, we used to teach that. Because the white man would pull out on the street and say, well, hold up. Y'all saying this about us, but y'all sold, your own people sold you to us. And we would pass the buck by saying, no, those was Hamites amongst us. It was the Hamites and Arabs that sold us to the white man. That's a lie. Okay? Those fortresses in West Africa that was built that you can go and travel and see till this day was in conjunction between the British royalty, the white people, Rome, and the black kings who were in West Africa, who were Israelites. I don't want to hear that Hamite garbage no more. That was us selling our own people, because in our law, there was a law in which you can sell people under servitude, especially those who are criminal and all that. But it was the white man, instead of giving us a 7-year jubilee and setting us free, saying, you know what? I'm going to keep your behinds in slavery forever. There was always agreements under our law for a 7-year servitude, unless the family wanted to stay under that servitude in respect of that house. So we had to set all that straight. Stop passing the buck to white people and Hamites. I'm speaking of you in general. I'm talking about these young people are now learning under the old crackpot doctrine that was from the 90s, trying to pass the buck instead of us looking internally and figuring out the fact that our curse have nothing to do with Hamites or white people. Our curse is what we continually do to ourselves. Okay, and when it comes to Africa, keep in mind, the original Hamites were from North Africa. When you look at the parts of Africa, South Africa, Northeast Africa, Western Africa, that's the wilderness. That's where Israelites fled from Roman persecution and through time, migrated into the rest of Africa. So Africa is predominantly 99% Israelites. So we don't want to hear about this Hamite crap anymore. Hamites come from North Africa, period. All 4 families. See, and that's
so
showing
majority.
Exactly, and that's
you
showing
saying majority of Africa is Israelites?
Not are Hamites. When When we talk about Africa, North Africa comprises of 4 separate families, and they are all Hamites. So we look in different parts of Africa and say, oh, well, they must be Hamites too. Let me tell you, a lot of those people are us. Okay? So we got to stop passing a buck and talking about what the white man did and what the Hamite did, because we're still...
But a lot of the Africans they know their tribe and where they come from and their origin, like the Nigerians, like they know like they're from the Yoruba tribe and generations and so on and so forth.
That's exactly. But I'm talking about ignorant people from America, okay, who are now making assessments on things they've never researched. They haven't researched that, but still they'll come up with these theories. Well, it was the Africans who did this to us. When a lot of this can be blamed directly on our own forefathers. You understand? That's my point. Blaming other people is not going to solve our issues. Okay? We have to start really owning up to what we do, what we've always done to ourselves. Period. You got it?
Right. Right.
Thank you, my brother. And you're the last call.
All right. Thank you.
My brother.
Shalom.
Shalom. Unfortunately, I have to go. I can do this all night, really, but I really can't. But go ahead, Elder Lloyd. You have anything to say?
One point on that. You have to ask yourself, how did we end up scattered amongst the Hamites in the first place? There was something we did while we were still in our homeland.
Exactly.
Which led to us being scattered amongst these different nations, including the Hamites. So it still goes back to, we have to look within and stop pointing the finger and making everyone else the issue. When we are the ones, we are, as we mentioned in the Bible, it said the Most High says that he have nourished up children and we rebelled against him.
Exactly. Let's stop passing the buck. Okay. To Africa. Okay. We were in Africa, Egypt, being ruled in northern Africa by Hamites. The Most High saved us from them. Okay. Not later for us to glorify in that same wickedness and begin to make that our African religion. Okay. We began to delve into the same witchcraft we witnessed in Egypt. And the Most High says, okay, you want to practice African or Egyptian traditions? I'm going to put you back under them.
Exactly.
Okay. I saved you from those traditions. Okay. Those are heathenistic traditions, worshiping lesser gods, but yet you're still delving into those secrets of the ancient Africans. So since you love it so much, serve all nations. Okay? And see if your witchcraft gets you out of this. Okay? Israel, you will come begging. You will look for answers when you find there's no more answers anywhere. When you go to Islam and there's no answers and your people are still suffering. When you go to Christianity and you find there's no answers and your people are still suffering. When you go to witchcraft and voodoo and Yoruba and all that, you go to it all and find your people still suffering. Eventually, you're going to turn back to the God who put you under the nations you're serving.
Right.
Period. Come out of them, my people. And the first place you must start searching is that book, the Bible. And you must come out of her up here. Stop looking to other nations for a way out. Witchcraft, sorcery, all these other ways as a cover. The God of Israel is calling Israel. Mm-hmm. And who are we? That's right. We're the children of the Most High God, Yasha Allah. We are the children of Israel, and we're back. And you know what? We're ghost busting and witch hunting. Watch next week. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Stay strong. And guess what? No weapon formed against us will prosper.
That's right.
Bless you.
Are you seeking to strengthen your biblical foundation? Join us in the Hebrew Bible Academy, where we offer 12 weeks of in-depth learning in a structured environment. Receive real-time news from Brother Shapat and amazing lessons by Elder Ricard. Learn ancient Hebrew with Elder Lawyer. With 12 amazing lessons, you are guaranteed to learn more about your true biblical history and authentic Hebrew language than you would in a traditional Christian church for only a one-time payment of $150 or 3 monthly payments of $50. Join us at historytimes.org and sign up today. It's not too late. See you in the academy.